next guest is a man that's gonna put together some grooves that'll make you wanna move. Put your hands together, Mr. King Brody!
Oh, what's happening, y'all? There's so much going on here right now.
Y'all with the Live at 5 happy.
Is it? You let me go? You let me go? All right, we're gonna go. First, let me give a shout out to Rock. We need him to relax. He's acting like Will Smith right now, ready to. But I ain't gonna be Chris. It's gonna be a little different. My tuck's gonna get messed up. Did y'all talk about that today? Y'all get into that?
We just touched on it.
That's it?
Yeah.
I've been wanting to get on social media all day to talk. I mean, I know it's sports, but I mean, we can kind of make it like boxing or something, kind of fill that in, because are the people that you talk to for women, were women like on Will's side, or did they feel like he was supposed to chill and?
Well, women, I say he should chill. But a lot of women, they like that. They like that that aggressive. Oh, my man gonna fight for me. My man gonna do this for me. You know, a lot of women.
It's my opinion. I'm like, I mean, it's. Remember back in the day, and I know you're a little younger, we were just experiencing that. Remember Def Comedy Jam, man? You remember that?
Yeah.
When that was on, I know my friends, we were sitting there going, ain't no way I sit in the front row. Like, you would want to go, but you want to sit in the back, because they roasting everybody all the way across, and they're fun, and there's nothing you can do, but that's just kind of how it is. Now, I get it. This wasn't a comedy thing, but it's Chris Rock. And what he said was so mild. I don't even know if he knew about that. I didn't even realize about her hair situation.
Having alopecia?
Yeah, I didn't even realize that. But what he said was so mild. And, I mean, since I've seen, I'm a Jada fan. She done had so many hairstyles, and she's rocked that a bunch of times. So I didn't know. But I was just like, okay, Will, you supposed to, if you want to pull him up on the side, be like, look, bruh, don't say nothing.
Yeah, but they said the backstory is they said that Chris Rock did this in 2016 also.
He did, but they wasn't there.
Yeah,
They
And-
were. He
but
made
he
his.
still. I guess making him the butt of his, making her the butt of his jokes.
Uh-huh.
Like I said a little earlier, man, I don't think it was the joke itself. I think Will is dealing with a lot, man. He's been in the public eye because of his wife a lot in the last 18 to 24 months, and I think it was a thing of, do I punch her in the face or do I punch him in the face?
Dude, that word, everybody knows what entanglement is, right?
Because of Jada.
Who you supposed to punch? Chris wasn't involved in that entanglement. If you ain't gonna punch
Nah.
August, if you ain't gonna bang
But
him,
he'd have got a child abuse case for that. They'd have called CPS because August Alsina was a damn child.
man,
At that time, but he old enough now.
I'm just telling you. I mean, I get it. Everybody's like, well, you know, I love my family. I love my family too. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, if you aren't gonna go off and you're gonna actually sit on her show and you're gonna talk about it, but now this man, it was a weak joke. It wasn't even.
Uh-huh.
It was right, and like this
And
young
a lot
lady
of
here,
people
you don't
didn't
even know
even
who
get it.
G.I. Jane is, do you?
Right.
No, you don't know.
Looked it up after I heard
Right,
Yeah.
right. I remember when that movie
And the-
came out.
And the funny part about it is a lot of people didn't know because everybody kept talking about Jada playing in G.I. Jane. She didn't. It was Demi Moore.
Right. And
It wasn't even Jada.
No, she had that long hair and she had to
Yes.
cut it. So as soon as he said it, I got it. And then he was about to move on. And Will was actually laughing
exactly.
when it happened. So I'm like,
It wasn't until he saw Jada's face
mm-hmm.
that he really said something. But was that really the proper time
No.
that you should address that? So you're going
Not
to
at
do
all.
this on national TV in front of everybody. You couldn't have brought him up backstage.
And you know they know each other.
Then they consoled him.
They console Will, right.
Denzel Washington,
Tyler Perry.
Perry, and what's the white guy named Cooper?
Oh, let me look.
You notice how the peanut gallery yelling in the back when it's like 17 mics in the studio? Like, really, man?
So what
Making
had
people think we
happened-
got poor quality.
What had happened was I was saying that the whole thing of it was that Will Smith was actually laughing until he saw Jada's face is when he decided, oh, maybe that wasn't funny, blah, blah, blah. And also, that was not the appropriate time for him to address that situation. What he could have done was waited till after. But the fact that nobody went to Chris Rock
Right.
to say anything, but they went to, and it was Denzel Washington, Tyler Perry, and what's the guy named Bradley Cooper. All was like, oh man, you know, this, blah 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 blah. But he didn't. That was disrespectful. And as a woman, yes, we would want our man to stand up for us. But like you said, the joke was lame. It wasn't even like a real hot joke, like, ho, ho, ho. Okay, we move on. Because like you said, that was an old movie. And actually, that movie was very strong-willed for women. You know, because it wasn't until she cut her hair is that when they started really to appreciate the soldier that she was. So I don't even think that was any, you know, I wouldn't have been offended by that joke as a female. But yeah, he sit down. And then he want to get on stage and cry and apologize. You were wrong. That's just how it was. You were just wrong with that. I'm sorry. That's my opinion. Peanut Gallery out. Peace.
I'm just
And
saying.
like I said earlier, I knew it was coming. Our intern just showed me Will Smith issued a formal apology on social media to Chris Rock.
Oh, did he? Okay. Because Chris didn't. Let me tell you.
But Chris gonna get him. You know,
Now,
HBO special is coming.
You know he's coming here in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
He's going to be at the Lyric.
Man, but that ain't
Tonight.
big enough. No, the Lyric ain't big enough. Chris Rock called HBO today and told him, I need an hour HBO special. You know he gonna get it. He got about 58 minutes of Will and Jada. He about to get. You
Bruh.
think you think he got hate for
It
that?
was a prank.
I did too. I did too.
When I just know now. I don't claim to be a tough guy. I don't claim to be a tough guy, but I know if I've been on that stage and Will came at me, he's not gonna be there to get his award. He gonna have to. Tyler Perry got to go up on stage, and they're gonna FaceTime Will because he's gonna be at Los Angeles Memorial, whatever's out there. He's not gonna be able to sit. I told you, my tuck's gonna be messed up. His tuck's gonna be messed. It's just, you know, even if I take the L, he's not just gonna walk back, you know, fix his collar and walk back to his seat and then yell at me. Sitting at, nah, man, it wouldn't have gone. And Chris Rock is definitely what, about 50 pounds lighter, smaller.
Yeah, he lighter.
He's so.
But Tony Rock is a brother, so you know he got some two pieces in him. You know good and well they from New York. They got some two pieces in them.
I need to see how that goes, man. I'm sorry, I know it's not sports related, but I'm like, it's been killing me because I haven't been able to talk to anybody. But I tried to do a couple of memes or whatever last night. Try to throw my TikTok video out. I was just trying to do it all before everybody else did. But today it was like everybody was kind of talking today, and I couldn't get in on it. So it's just kind of, I feel better now.
Yo, TikTok was on fire last night. At first, when I first saw it, and listen, I'm like a TikTok junkie. Hello, my name's Devon, and I'm a TikTokaholic. But listen, when I first saw it, I was like, all right, that was a funny between two funny people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then as I started scrolling, I said, wait a minute, this like really happened.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the videos, I'm like, oh boy, it's about
Yeah.
to be a situation.
Yeah, luckily my wife had the DVR going, so that may be our guess.
My mama said I can't have no company when she not home.
Is that?
Yeah,
Oh,
baby.
okay.
Yeah, baby.
It's time to get back
Yeah,
to business,
baby.
man.
Ba, 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 ba.
Our
you doing,
guest.
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Oh,
Took me an hour and a half to get here, huh?
I appreciate the fact that
Yeah, I live in Charles County, Waldorf.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
wow.
I didn't know that you have a seat right. Pick a spot. I didn't know you lived that far.
What?
Oh, you know what?
You done sent them an Uber?
I don't know. Maybe I'd have
Fine.
met halfway.
No, I'm not. No, I'm fine. I learned. See, young people don't know this. It's easy for me to do Zoom. Like I went on Fox 45, right? For the Super Bowl. Fox 45 called me and said, they went you on. You want to do Zoom? You want to drive up? I said, no. I'll drive the 180 miles. I said, I'll drive for 3 minutes. It's because it get me out there. The same as here. If you got to go somewhere, you got to get out of your comfort zone. You can't do everything. See, some people only do stuff easy.
Right. Right.
It's easy to sit. I told my wife, so I'm going to get on the radio show. I'll drive 160 miles to get on the show. That's how I made it this far.
Okay.
You know.
Well,
Some people only do stuff when it's convenient.
I know that's right.
Right? When it's convenient.
I'm so happy. First of all, I'm happy. I appreciate you responding to me.
What do you mean?
On to come here today, because I just reached out. I'm like, I didn't know if you were gonna initially when I first asked you to come on. I know you're busy. I see you everywhere. So that even goes. If I go to a supermarket, if I see the cheerleaders, he's probably right there.
Right.
With the cheerleaders. So I see you around town a lot, but I'm never able to get up close enough to get. I was telling Rock, I'm like, I want pictures too. I'm like them little kids. I can't push them out the way.
Well, that's like me this weekend. Are you on Instagram?
Yes.
You follow me on Instagram?
I just followed.
Yeah.
Just,
So I did the polar plunge.
Yes.
One morning, and then I went over Catonsville to Route 65 over Catonsville, and then I went over to Route 117 over at Pasadena. So I did 3 events. You know, the Ravens.
Yeah.
So I did 3 events. My wife says, "Me ain't gonna drive from Annapolis home." I said, "Vern, I go to the gym 5 days a week. This ain't nothing. Walking around talking to people, right?" I said, "This is a piece of cake." So I started doing this, and I have a pretty positive page. I have no negativity on my page.
Okay.
Or any of my social media. If you look for negativity, my page is not there, which means I attract like-minded people. Right? There's enough negativity out there. But
There is.
I don't indulge that, and I don't have none of my pages because negativity is not good for your immune system.
I finally figured out the answer to my question.
What's that?
I'm sitting there, I say, man, we play the Steelers, we play the Browns. Don't nobody bothers, man. You know, they got some of the rudest fans ever. This man like 7'3". He was huge.
Is this your first time seeing him in person?
Nah, because
Okay.
our station used to be down the street from the stadium.
Okay.
And where he used to park at, every game day, he used to walk right
by
past
it,
us.
yeah.
Yeah, he used to walk right by us.
That's my kid's book I wrote.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we gonna get into all
Yeah,
of
we
that.
got because you had so much. You've done a lot.
Well, so I didn't know if you were doing a Zoom. I didn't know how you were doing it, right? And you asked me to come. I said, sure. And then you told me where the studio was. I said, okay. He said, up in Baltimore on Chase Street. I said, because I'm from Baltimore. I said, LeBron, you going up? I said, yeah, I'm going up there to do the radio station. I'm retired military. I said, LeBron, everything ain't easy. You don't rise to the top just doing stuff easy.
Right.
Right? So I was on Fox 45 for 3 minutes. It's better than doing Zoom.
And I didn't know. So where'd you grow up in Baltimore? What part?
Off of North in Utah, upstream from the
Oh, he in the hood.
Yeah, I used to live over
Utah Guards?
Bruce Manor. It's
Bruce Manor,
called
yeah.
Pelham. Yeah, I came out of Bruce Manor.
Wow.
So I went to a function up in Baltimore. See, part of my success, I'm an outside the box thinker. See, people, what makes me different? See, everybody wants to do the same thing. But if you want to go somewhere, the man said, what separates you from them 20 people? Caesars Entertainment flew me to Vegas 2 years. I did a commercial for the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
They flew me to Vegas, and they put me up in Caesars, and they paid me a couple of grand. My wife says, will they come after you? I says, Caesars is a multi-billion company. They can pick who they want.
Yeah.
They email me. Same with New York Ball Cap. I'm on Twitter, and New York Ball Caps, hey, Captain D, we're going to send you a bunch of free ball caps. Can you take pictures and upload them to Twitter? My wife says, who they come after you for? I said, learn. If you make yourself a person of value, but what happens is too many people scared to get out of the comfort zone. They do what 20 other people doing, and they don't know how to separate themselves because they're afraid. Because when you separate yourself, people come after you. Hey, man, us 20 people over here, you an idiot because you're over there by yourself. Well, I'm an idiot, but I'm going to be who I am.
Yeah, that's what you got to do.
Right.
That's what. Now I'm curious. I read. And I'm gonna let you tell a story. When did you start? Tell us about the birth of Captain Defense.
When the Ravens first came, I'm retired. I did 24 years in the Navy,
Mm-hmm.
and I was in cryptology, which wasn't too many brothers. But anyway, when the Ravens first came here, I used to go to Memorial Stadium, and I had a sign that says defense. And so I used to carry. Also, I made a rap CD about 10 years ago. I'll tell you about that. Also.
Oh,
But
I
anyway.
need to hear. Okay.
But anyway, so I did. So I was at the game, and I'm walking around the stadium. I used to have a sign with defense on it, right? Just a regular cardboard sign. And this girl, about 8 years old, she come over to me and said, "Hey, mister, are you like the captain of the defense or something?" So what happened is, sometimes you want to go this place, but God has another plan, but you don't know it at the time, right? So I says, I kind of like Captain Defense. So what happened is I went to Walmart, bought some white Arnold letters and on Captain Defense on the back of a T-shirt. So my wife says, what are you doing? I said, I'm on Captain D. She said, who's Captain Defense? I said, I am. She said, when did you come in? I said, I don't know. I have to earn these letters on, right? So what happened is I earned the letters on. I wore the T-shirt to the game, and I just put it on, right? Just walk around, had Captain Defense on the back. And so about the third or fourth game, this guy comes up to me, and he said, hey, Captain D, we're having a fundraiser. You know, we would like you to come. I didn't know who the guy, never met the guy, so I told my wife that. And she said, did you know the guy? I said, no, he has to come to the fundraiser. She said, I guess he must think you're somebody. I said, I guess, because I was just being myself.
Right.
And then he asked me to come to the fundraiser, and then I started, my outfit started migrating. And then I said, you know, I have a chance. And I told my wife, I'm going to be up on a billboard one day. She said, you was? Uh-huh. She said, how do you know? I will. And then M&T Bank put me up on that billboard, that Visa checking card. And sometimes once you get validated by a corporation, other ones see, okay, he's safe. He won't mess up their brand.
Right.
You know, he won't mess up their brand. So but I got out of my comfort zone because when I first started doing this, people said, man, you look weird and you different. I said, that's me. When I was in high school, this girl told me one time, she came up to me, she said, you know, everybody think you weird and strange, you different. I say, you want 20 guys like that over there. That's just not me. By the way, why do you care if I'm weird and different? Why does it bother you?
Right.
Right. You know, and I tell people all the time, at the end of the day, I can look in my mirror and say, you know, I was true to myself. Because people think you weird. But when I started doing this, you know, Caesar Entertainment ain't flying everybody to Vegas. I've been to 2 Super Bowls, all expense paid trip.
Yeah, you've done okay. Okay.
Did you read part of my bio?
I read the whole thing,
yeah.
but it was so much to I was trying to pick around because in 2002 you were fan of the Visa.
Yeah, I went Visa Hall of Fame. I went in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2002. So I got a plaque and everything. I got in the field, so I was inducted to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2002 in Canton, Ohio. I had a plaque there, and then 2012 ESPN, they had a Hall of Fame in inaugural class. I went in first class. I have a permanent plaque on ESPN's campus, 2012. And so ESPN knows, if you want a Raven fan, I'm the guy involved. They already know that up at ESPN. And
do you have that posted on the plaques on your page? Like
I don't know if I do or not. It's been so long. I got the when I'm sitting in the stands. I got a picture of that. I can send it to you when I got inducted.
I would love to see.
I'm behind the podium. Yeah, we went up there. Shoot, they limoed us up there, took us up there. I got a tour of ESPN's campus, and you know, we walked around and everything. That was their first class, and it went across all sports. And then Bleacher Report listed me in who's the football fans. I was in there, which I knew I would be.
Wow.
But the one for ESPN was because it went across college football and everything. And then when you put your brand out there, because what happened is people said they look on social media, see how you carry yourself. I go across all economic races and everybody. I just do. I roll. I don't go after specific audience. I put myself out there, and I don't care if I got 1 like or I got 20. I do my thing, and I'm not like nobody else.
Yeah,
and that's part of my comfort. That's part of my success.
Yeah, I don't even know how we became we're Facebook friends.
Right,
that's how I found. So I don't even know how that happened because I saw you there was I started going to the game, and I just thought you just get in these groups,
right?
And one like the same day you, Dan,
Fan,
Dan and oh my goodness, I'm missing the name. I can't think of his name, but I consider you guys like the elite fans.
Right.
It's another level of I consider myself a serious fan.
Right.
But with what y'all do every game,
right,
tailgating. I mean, you're everywhere. I'm like, I wish I had the time to be able to do it. But
well, what happened is part of my thing is like I tell people all the time. There's no such thing as a number one Raven fan. Humility is a good thing. I never say that. Whatever sometimes media say, but I've never complained that because every Raven fan is the number one fan. And I sit up in the top deck at 513. Ravens say, you want to move down close? I said, no, I'm comfortable because as long as I sit in the top deck, the fans feel Captain D just like us. He's paying for his tickets just like us, right?
Yeah.
I don't need no, the Ravens done stuff to me, and Ravens flew me to the Super Bowl, the Rams and the thing. So we go there. I had to beg my wife to go to the Super Bowl. I had to beg her to go. I said, you want to go? My kids were standing up. They said, Dad and Mom don't want to go. We go.
Had to beg.
I said, I want you to go to the Super Bowl, right? I said, all expense. So they flew us down there, And then they said it was in Atlanta, right?
Oh, right, okay.
We got to meet with the head of official. We were on the field. And my wife says, well, this looks like any other field. I'm saying, honey, this is... But you know what? That's why I love her. She's the balance of my life. You know, she doesn't tell anybody, Captain D. She like, have fun, you know. This is just like NFL. I said, honey, the Rams bench is right there, right? And it was all these bench paid trip. So we coming back from Atlanta, and we're in the hotel. Well, the hotel didn't have a shuttle, right? I didn't have an Uber cab. And my wife says, how are we going to get back to the... my wife said, how are we going to get back to the hotel? I mean, to catch the shuttle. I said, I got this. That's what I have. 2 great daughters. My daughter Chandra. Yes, Dad. Can you get me an Uber from the CNN tower to the airport? Okay, Dad, I got you. Let me text you the tail number. I said, and my wife said, how much it cost? I have no idea. My wife always worked. My wife want to pay her way. You know, she don't want nobody to give her nothing. She said, how much it cost? My daughter, heck, if I know if it costs.
She took care of it.
The Uber came. Same thing. We were flying up to Seattle. My daughter here she's a senior scientist for a biotech company. She worked on COVID-19 for 2.5 years. Worked 12-hour shifts. And my daughter out in Seattle, she's a senior. She's a multicultural kindergarten teacher. She had kindergartners who can't speak English. But anyway, so we flew. So we were supposed to fly out of BWI. I got a text from Alaskan Airlines says, hey, you're not flying out of BWI. You're flying out of National. Well, my son-in-law works at NSA. He was going to take us. We was going to drive my daughters, and I said he was going to take us to BWI because his office, NSA, is up by BWI. Well, he couldn't take us. my wife says, why don't we get to the airport? Hey, Chandra. Yeah, Dad, can you have an Uber, pick us up, and take us to National? Okay, Dad, I got you. My wife says, how much it cost? I have no idea. I don't really, you know what I mean?
She tries to keep you grounded.
My wife, yeah, she don't want no free ride. She want to pay her way, right? Even to her daughter, I said, I have no idea how much it costs. My wife said, you think? I said, bro, I don't know how much an Uber costs. In fact, I don't even really care. So we go there, and then we go out in Seattle, and it was this past Christmas, and we go out there, and their furnace broke, right, out in Seattle, and it was cold out there. But anyway, we go out to Seattle. This was Monday coming back. It was Monday. We supposed to black. I'm a glasses half full person. I run through life that I deal with stuff as it comes. I don't. Some people go me worry before it gets there. When it comes, I deal with it. So we out in Seattle on a Monday. We supposed to fly to Baltimore that Friday. Well, my daughter here texting my wife. Oh, Chan says a big snowstorm come to Baltimore on Friday. Our flight get canceled. I said, Vern, it's Monday out in Seattle. I'll deal with the snowstorm in Baltimore when it comes, okay? I'm surely not dealing with it on a Monday out in Seattle, right? Because my wife said, I said, if you want to go back and forth, well, she say 5 inches. I said, Vern, I'm out in Seattle. I'll deal with it when it comes. So, sure enough, we got in the canceled flight. So then we go from Seattle to Portland to Utah. I said, Vern, I'm getting back to Baltimore. So we go to Chicago. We got a 2-hour layout. I'm always nice to people. And if you're nice to people, people do good things for you. So we fly to Chicago. I'm talking to this guy at the gate. I said, man, you guys get beat up here. Yeah, man. Everybody talking about the weather, man. People yelling and screaming. I said, well, I don't roll like that, right? So I come back. The guy said, asked my wife, which lab? Henson. Here's 2 tickets for first class. My wife said, why? I said, that guy didn't owe me nothing. He didn't know me from Adam. I said, Laverne, sometimes you're nice to people. He might have got beaten up all day, and I was the first person that was nice to him. I don't know what the deal is, but he didn't know me from Adam. He didn't have to do it. He just gave it to him. Cause I was like talking to him. I said, yeah, man. I said, you can't control the weather. I'm not a negative person. I don't get into it, right? So yeah, he upgraded us to first class, and we.
It pays to be nice.
Yeah, what happened is people will buy an inferior product from you simply because you're nice. Conversely, if I don't like you, I don't care how good your product, I'm not even really hearing what you say because I don't like you. I never got my mindset. You know, mines do this and everything. I don't really like it. That's all I hear. So I always be nice to people because all these sponsors for this book, each of them paid me $500, right? Because I'm a reader. And they gave it to me just here, Captain, did his $5 for church. So all these paid $500. They paid for the book.
Okay.
So they donated, and we put that thing on. My manager's Jewish. She bought the money anyway. But anyway, but when I did my rap CD about 10 years ago, I go in the studio. I took this guy about 21 years old. He said, I said, man, I want to do a rap. He said, you know how to do a rap? I said, man, I watch 106 in Park. I can do something. It goes like this. My name is Wes. They call me Captain D. I rolled this thing and this one. It was terrible. So
You need a DJ?
No,
Right.
no.
Right. Oh, okay. We're talking.
So we rolled in the studio, and the guy was pretty good. I told the guy, so I can recognize sharp people. The guy didn't say it well. You know, the rap, the guy said, I work with you, right? Because some people, you know, I'm an older guy. Some people turn people away, but I can recognize outside the box people. I can recognize people who get it. Some people don't get it, right? But anyways, we go in there. He said, Captain, you know, you gotta get the hook. Hook? What's a hook? What are you talking about? So I said, okay. So we go in there, we do it, right? And so I'm like, okay. He said, this was like, he said, it costs $3 to make. He said, it costs $3 to make. We're selling for $10, right? So he got the CDs making, you know, he didn't have the plastic. You know, he just gave me CDs, he didn't have them in plastic. I said, young man, let me give you a lesson, right? He said, Captain, here's the plastic. You can just hand. I said, look, buddy, putting the CD in plastic or seal it changed the whole perception of the piece of the CD.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
If I give you an open CD, it changed the whole perception. We put it in plastic. So I did it. I said, look, buddy, the little things matter. Because it's in plastic, it looks professional, right?
That's true.
Right? But he gave me the things. He didn't get it. I said, let me give you a little lesson about the little thing. So I did it, right? And so my daughter says, well, who's going to buy it? I said, look, there's 71,000 Ravens fans who know I am, and they know I don't know how to rap. But they'll buy it just because I sold them in one game. I was autographing all of them. Hey, Captain, give me 5 of them, right? Hey, give me 5. They know I don't know how to rap because I'm nice and deal with everybody. Give me 5 of them. And my wife said, how much you selling? I said, we'll sell them for $10. Right, and we sold them all. People were buying 4 or 5 of them, and I told my wife, I says, they know who I am. I was signing them and giving them to them and everything. And the guy, the DJ, was playing it. I had it blasted. And this one woman said, she said, Captain, you can't rap. I said, I know.
I have to hear this song. I got to find it.
I don't know if it won't be on no.
I got to hear
Trust
it.
me, buddy. You got to go real hard to find.
I'm going to have to reach out to somebody hear this.
Oh, I think it was Raw Ravens. I think you ain't gonna find him. I'll be shocked if you find.
I'm gonna have to
My
reach
name
out.
is Wes. They call me Captain D. We roam this stadium. That's where I be. You know. You get out of here. You ain't hearing nothing. Don't even try to go there. Cause I ain't heard it. So we did that. so we did it, and then I sold them all to one guy. People buy, Captain, you got 5 of them. Give me 4. The guy, and one of the guys was playing. One of the guys at the DJ that stayed, he was playing, and he said, Captain, you can't rap. I said, I know. But
You didn't say one. You didn't say you sold them all.
I sold them all at 2 games. I sold them all. And then people kept asking me. I was like doing it kind of as a fun thing.
Right.
I didn't know it was gonna go. I told my daughter. I said the thing about being Captain D, because I talk to everybody the same way. When I go into Ravens Stadium, everybody got their Ravens stuff. I don't know if you're a used car salesman, work at McDonald's, CEO of a corporation. I talk everybody get the same respect. I talk to everybody the same because I don't know them talk. I just talk to people because I'm anyway. And a lot of times they say, you know that guy, he's the CEO of. There's one friend of mine. He's a corporate executive out of California. He flies back here all the time. Well, I'm talking to him, and I had these little things I was giving to his kids. He said, Captain, you can give my kids? I said, sure. He said, yeah, I give them to them. They free. Somebody gave them to me because somebody was giving me stuff. And he says, well, let me give you my business card. I said, okay. He said, here's my business card, man. If you ever need anything, here's my private number, right? I didn't know who he was. It didn't really matter. I was just being nice to his kids, right? But too many people get caught up in, too many of us get caught up in a bunch of nonsense, a bunch of petty nonsense.
Yeah.
You know, they worry about what people think. A young man, he got a shirt called Positive Speak, right? And he says, so I gave him a card, right? And I said, look, man, I'm a positive person. I wear a shirt. So I gave him about 2 weeks ago, right? I haven't heard anything. See, he looks at my picture. He says, he can't help me. But shoot, I got almost 20,000 followers. If I put a shirt on, but he don't get it. See, some people see, this is the difference between some people, some of us.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us, when I walk into a room and, you know, and I do this, sometimes we see the spikes and chains. Sometimes white people say, well, he know 20,000 people. I'm going to get on board because we never see. This guy up in Baltimore, this white pastor up in Harford County, he said to me, he said, Captain, I got a Christian men's group, you know. We're trying to get more participation, right? He said, okay. He said, I'll make a donation to your charity. He gave me 250. I rolled up there, had 150 men. See, it wasn't about him. He was saying, how can I get more men in the church? Well, I invite Captain D, and that's just what he did. And he had a big breakfast. Sometimes we get caught in a bunch of nonsense. If I see, and I told a guy, if I go to an event and a guy got a clown outfit up on the stage, sometimes we say, he looked like an idiot. Well, I want to know why he's speaking in front of 10,000 people. See, the narrow-minded people can only see he's a clown. I can see somebody paying him to speak in front of 10,000. I need to go over and talk to him and find out. But short people can only see the clown outfit.
Right.
I say, well, why are they paying them to come in and speak? And I go over and talk to him. I went from North American Trade School. I go up there, right? Lacey come speak, so I go up there. And guy, I think you look ridiculous. I said, well, tell you what, I might be, but they paying me up here for you to listen. Right?
Yeah.
That's many. But I told my kids, they successful because they get out. They have no comfort zone like me. When you get out of your comfort zone, people say you're the wrong color, you're the wrong thing, you're the wrong thing. This girl up in Morgan State, right? She says, Captain D, I'd like to come do an interview. She didn't know much about me. Okay. Then Christmas came. She didn't say nothing. November said, but I got it. But she don't know. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, right? Mm-hmm. I've been on 3 or 4 radio stations. But what happens? People only see, well, I can't have that guy in there. Instead of saying, well, damn, he got a powerful social media. Let me use him, because the narrow-minded people can only see the spike. They can only see the clown outfit up on the stage. Yeah. Well, I want to know why he in there. And this guy had this positive thing. I said, look, man, we ain't heard from him. I said, well, maybe I can wear your Positive Speak shirt and put it up on my Instagram and say, hey, I got my Positive Speak. But, some people don't. Some people don't get it, man. So that's my story. I'm an outside-the-box thinker. I don't have time for nonsense. Or a friend of mine, this young kid. See, I can tell people what they used to deal with. I gave this kid this lady gave me a punching bag, right? With glove. Well, this guy's a boxer, right? She gave me the flea market. So I called this guy, young brother on the forest. Look, man, you a boxer. I got this punching bag and these gloves, right? This is a Monday. But Thursday ain't hear nothing. So I called him. I said, man, you gonna get, well, I've been tied up. And I told my kids, if you giving me something, you ain't got to chase me down. I'm chasing you down, right? So he said, well, okay, I've been tied up, right? I'm giving you something new. I'm giving you something, and I'm chasing you down, right?
Right.
So he said Thursday. I said, okay, meet me at 9 o'clock, right? He came over at 9 o'clock. He said, meet me at the gym at 9 o'clock. I was like, because I got in the trunk. I said, okay, 9 o'clock. He didn't show up, right? And I told my wife, see, I can tell what people used to dealing with. Right? I can tell the company used to dealing with. Right. See, I'm not used to dealing with them type of people. If you can say, like I told him I was coming up here, I'm coming up here. If I ain't coming, I'll tell them I'm coming. I just don't not show up, right? So I said, okay. He said, well, I'm tied up. I said, so he says, so I gave it to somebody. Week, 3 weeks, you got the bag? I said, no, I got the bag. I give it up. See, those kind of people you used to running with, right? I'm just not. If you say you're going to do something, you'll text me and say, because I'm amazed that people say they're going to do something, don't even tell you they're not, and just don't show up.
Right.
So I move past people like that, right? And I can tell, if I told you I'm gonna make it, I wasn't gonna not show up. I text you and say, look, man, I can't make it. I'll give you a heads up. I just don't not show up. But he gonna not show up. I'm giving you a bag. The thing cost like $400 or $500.
Wow.
That's something.
And I'm giving it to you 4 days, and I gotta track you down. And I told my daughter, I said, well, somebody giving you something, you chase them down. Whether for a job interview, I'm calling you every day. Well, I'll get to you next Thursday. Well, I'm calling you on Wednesday. You got my resume? But I told my wife, you say you're going to call me next Thursday? Well, you think I'm waiting for Thursday? Hey, by the way, you heard anything about that job? Because I make a nuisance. Every day I call it nuisance. But I'm not, well, they say they're going to call me Thursday. Well, pick up the phone and call them.
Right. You don't have to wait.
But I try to talk to young people. Some get it.
It's a different time now.
You got me?
Yeah, it's I don't know if it's social media or it's just different time. I know that what you're saying is stuff I used to hear all my life. You don't wait. It's right. Like somebody give you an opportunity, you need to be first. You need to, I've heard everything you're saying. I've heard.
And you got now to grab it because I was talking to this young girl. There's his brother. He got this clothing line, right? And he's sharp, man. He's got a nice design, right? And I was talking to him. I said, look, man, you got a nice design. Man, he's talking about his car. I said, I can help you. I said, but your boys can't go with you where I take you at. You have to let them go. Okay. He said, okay, I can't let them go. So he's still selling them out the car. I said, look, buddy, the people I know, you can't take your boys. They're not bad people, but they ain't going the same way you going, right? You got a nice clothing line. I said, you sitting there selling about your car, doing the same thing, and somebody else be doing the same thing. I said, you're not responsible for your boys. You're not. I'm not responsible for you. I'm supposed to go on my. I'm not supposed to. If you want to come, I'll take it. But I ain't dragging you if you not want to go. And he said, well, I kind of. You owe them what? What do you owe them? He said, well, I said, enlighten me. What do you owe them? He says, well, I can't let them go. I said, okay. So he's still selling out his car. I said, I know a lot of people. I showed him one of the design. The guy said, nice. We might better do something with him. So I told him, he said, well, I'm just not ready. It's 4 years. I said, continue. He can't let him go. He owed him something. I don't know what it is, but huh? But you know how it is, right? Huh? They can't.
It's just different. It's hard to get people if they don't want to. They don't want to.
No, if they don't want it, right? But like I said, if I talk to people who've done it, I told my daughters all the time, successful people leave clues.
Yeah.
Successful people. If you want to be a chef, don't talk to your uncle who never been a chef. Talk to a chef, right? Right. Like I was out front one day and I was trying to get my grass to grow. So the brother says, this guy named Mitch next door, and he says, Dad, I'm talking to Mitch, right? And then about the grass, and then next thing I know, I'm talking to this guy down the street, right? And my daughter says, "We talking to that guy about my grass?" She said, "Why don't you talk to Mitch? Mitch's lawn look worse than I do." I'm talking to the guy down the street who got the golf course. That's what I'm talking. Why am I talking to Mitch? His lawn worse than I am. Mitch can't. Like I told people, if you lived in an apartment all your life, why am I listening to you about buying a house? I'm just listening. But sometimes I go, like when I go to the gym, if a guy do something, I say, man, what does that exercise do? See, but sometimes that ego, I have no ego when I want to learn something. So if I know something, say, you don't know that? No, I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. I don't mind telling people I don't know. But we get caught up in a bunch of nonsense because my daughter's a senior scientist for a biotech company when she was going to college. Well, she called my wife on the phone crying one time. She was in Ohio Wesleyan. She said, my wife says, daughter number 2 is upset about something. I was like, give me the phone. So I pick up the phone. I said, Chan, what's wrong? She said, Dad, this organic chemistry is kicking my butt, right? Because her degree was in zoology. I said, what? Kicking your butt? I got this, Chan. I said, Chandra, let me tell you one. There's somebody on that campus, organic comes to it just like that. You just got to find them. So I said, put something up in the student union looking for somebody to tutor her for organic chemistry, right? So a guy knocked on the door. But this guy, he's dressed in all black and got tattoos, right? Gothic guy. He said, I can help you, right? I said, Chandra, I don't care what you look like. If you can teach about organic chemistry, I don't care if you got blue on. I told Chan, you're not marrying the guy. And Chan said, that guy showed me about organic chemistry and hooked my computer up. And she said, Dad, I said, Chan, we get caught up in a bunch of nonsense. I want to know organic chemistry. I don't care what you look like. If you can teach me. And because a friend said, that guy's weird. Chan said, maybe, but he taught me like organic chemistry. And she breathed to organic chemistry and got much higher grades. And, they became friends. And I told my daughter all the time, doesn't matter what knowledge looks like. I don't care what color it is. And so she was in a lab when when she was in the American Revolution. She worked in the genealogy department in D.C., right, which was a real racist group. So my daughter was in admin department, and she wanted to be a genealogist. Well, the sister in admin didn't want my daughter to go, so they had a Christmas party. They told my daughter, they said, well, we don't go to that. My daughter, we don't do what we do. We do what we do. Because the other blacks said, well, we don't go to that party. My daughter said, I'm going down there. So I said, Donald, you need to find a gatekeeper because sometimes people lump you together. Sometimes you got to get out and say, hey, nothing against them, but that's not who I am. So she went there, and the lady said, well, we want you to come to the genealogy department full time, right? I mean, part time. So she went back and told the sister in admin. Well, the sister in admin got mad because my daughter wanted to be a genealogist. So she sent my daughter down to the basement. So my daughter called me on the phone. She said, Dad, she stuck me down in the basement. She found I was part time. I said, Donald, I got this one too. Tell you what, you walk in there. Say, good morning, how you doing? I'm going down the basement. She wanted to know she got to you, but don't give her the satisfaction. So my daughter went in there smiling, called, hey, how you guys doing? I'm going down to the basement. It's nice and quiet down there, right? And so then they moved in the genealogy full time. So my daughter calls me on the phone. She said, Dad, guess what? They want to do an article on me, the first African American genealogist, right? So we was talking, and my daughter said. And my daughter said, Dad, I don't make deal. I said, Donald, let me tell you one thing. The fact that I have a genealogist and senior scientist in that company, me and your mother planted these seats a long time ago. You exactly what we thought. So I said, go ahead and let them do the article so they can do. Because her degree was in art history up at Towson. And art history lady told my daughter, said, You know, there's no black in art history. My daughter said, I ain't looking for any. My daughter said, if I want to look at black, I go up to Baltimore, but I ain't looking for any. Her degree's in art history, and now she's a elementary school teacher in Seattle, Washington, deal with multi generations, and people from Ethiopia, Kenya. She loves it. She got to pick up different land. And my daughter here, she lives in Howard County, and she has my 7-year-old grandson. Me and him have been to 7 air museums. My grandson knows more about airplanes than any 7-year-old. If you ask him what kind of plane Southwest fly, he'll tell you. The other day he said, Dad, and he calls me G-Pod. We go up to Dover, Delaware. They got the big Air Force transports up there, so we go up there. And he says, he said, G-Pod, I can fly on these big transport. I need help at the land. And I said, you can. Now, I could have told him all about going to school, but I fed right into it. I said, yeah, you can. You'll pick up the landing. I want you to get the price. You'll pick up the landing. Because we've been to 7 museums, right? And and they don't know me as Captain D, so I meet a whole group of people. The only thing I have in common, we got airplanes. So the other day he said, G-Pod, do you know what a Tu-144 is? No, I don't. He said, that's the Soviet equivalent to the Concorde. They call it a Tupolev 144. Oh.
7?
Wow. But see, too many of us kill our kids' passion because it's not our passion. I had no interest in airplanes before he came along, so sometime God still in my life. So he knows about airplanes, and that's his passion. But too many of us, kill our kids' passion because it's not ours. And we've been to Boeing, we've been to the Wright Pat, we've been to 4 or 5 museums. So he told me the other day, he said, G-Paul, I don't get this. I said, what? The kids in my school don't like to talk about airplanes. I said, RW, everybody's not as passionate as you are. He said, they're not. I said, no, everybody's not as passionate as you are. He said, they don't want to. I said, no, RW. I said, that's your thing. Some people got music, some people got gymnastics. I said, but that's your passion. And he said, oh, okay. So I volunteer at his school twice a month. It's called DADS. It's called DADS for Outstanding Students. So I volunteer for. It's important for especially African American kids. See, that black man, we do volunteer, and men do volunteer in the school. So I go around and talk to all the people and everything. But anyway, that's my story.
Captain Defense, I got a question. And everyone that comes to Birdland, we have to ask this question. We can clearly see what side of the fence you're on, but we have to ask this question,
What?
Okay? It's Sunday.
Yeah.
It's 4-19.
Okay.
The Ravens just lost by 2.
Okay.
How was your Monday?
How's my Monday?
Yes.
It's fine.
you can handle the loss, and it's the Ravens lose. You're okay. You're calm. You just.
I don't know. I'm disappointed, but I kind of put things in perspective, right? Nobody died.
Okay.
So, I kind of put it back. I'm upset, but I kind of put it, and I put Captain D is what I do. It's not who I am. I don't define myself, but as a Raven fan, right? But I'm disappointed by the time I'm get home. I don't move. One thing about me, my biggest thing, my motto is move on. Okay, I did it. No matter what happened in my life, move on, right? And I do it. We won the game. By the time it's about an hour and a half home. By the time I get home, I'm okay. My wife, she okay? I compartmentalize things. The Ravens lost. Let's move on to the next one, right?
Troy, so that's the answer there. After our loss, we got to get out the house. So let's get out the house and ride for an hour.
No, okay.
It's when the Ravens win, I will get a phone call like congratulations, like I was in the game.
Right.
Congratulations.
Right.
And I'm like, and I know what it means. It's like the Ravens won because
Right.
people know. It's such a long. The week is long.
Right.
Actually, the Thursday game probably makes a difference because
Right.
there is a game. So that's kind of the new week.
Right.
But certainly up till Wednesday.
Right.
Wednesday, I'm just starting to come around because they're talking about whatever the Thursday game is.
Right.
But I'm depressed.
Oh man.
My week is shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the schedule now, and I'm trying to picture. Well, we don't have the exact schedule, but we know who we play
You know who we
against.
play, yeah.
So soon as the schedule came out, in my mind, I'm like, oh, well, I see 11, 12 wins.
Right.
Now I see all these changes
Right.
are against our opponents.
Right.
Steelers did something. the Colts. I mean, what's it? The Florida teams quarter.
Yeah.
Saints got some. I'm like, it's a lot. There's a lot happening.
Well, a lot of them we don't play. I think we play Denver.
I know.
We played the NFC. We played
the South.
We played
this year.
we played the South. So we got Wentz. We played the Redskins since they finished last, and we got the.
Did we go to them this year? Did
Here
we go to
go.
the Skins this year? Well,
No, we got the Giants.
The Washington team. Did we go to them this
We
year?
got the.
We have our home games are Cincinnati, Cleveland,
Right.
Steelers, of course. Then we got the Bills, the Dolphins, the Falcons,
Right.
the Panthers.
We played the NFC South. Yeah.
Right, and the Broncos. So we got the Broncos again, Russell Wilson.
Right.
And then away games, same 3 teams. Then we play Tampa Bay, play the Jets, play the Patriots.
Okay, we played the AFC East and the NFC South. Okay. I got
Yes,
it. Yeah.
yes. Saints, Jags, and Giants.
Yeah, we play the Giants.
How did
We played the Giants. You remember last year we played the Rams?
Yes.
So our whole division plays the NFC East as game 17. You remember the NFC North played the AFC West. The Steelers played somebody in the West. We played we played the Rams. I think the Steelers. So this year every team in our division plays somebody in the NFC East.
Right.
We have to get the Giants. I think they finished last in the division.
Yeah, I think they snuck that. Yeah.
So Steelers got to play maybe Dallas, so they got to play, and then we play.
Yes.
Yeah. So the Steelers and Cincinnati got to play.
Yeah, I had the way the system was before they added that.
Yeah.
I knew it. I kind of got the hang of it, and now I'm like I have to learn all over again.
Yeah. So
with
the
that.
17th game, the AFC North plays another division in the NFC. And Cincinnati got to play. Maybe Cincinnati got to play Dallas. Maybe Steelers got to play somebody. In the
Oh
division.
right,
Yeah.
Whoever came in first place.
Yeah, yeah.
So they
so
probably
do
had
it like that, right?
Yeah.
And then that's why we played the Rams. We played the Rams here. Now we got to go. Our 17th game, call it. It's away.
Yeah.
Giants, right. So they alternate. They alternate divisions. So
I'm looking forward to the but I always.
we gotta get Lamar signed first. Find out what the contract.
Yeah.
He's gonna do it. He ain't going nowhere.
And the one thing I hate about the one bad thing about social media, one of the bad things, people make up stuff.
Right.
So you don't. I mean, I have a page that
Right.
I made just for, it's strictly for jokes.
Right.
So it's and I made it look like a news station, but
Right.
it's clearly not true.
Right.
But people believe everything.
Everything you put on social media, there.
It's crazy. Lamar was supposed to be traded.
Right.
Harbaugh was quit. Whatever they can think of.
Well, Harbaugh said that I get the impression they're on Lamar's timeline. They wait for Lamar. Whatever he said, well, whenever Lamar wants to do it, Lamar's, he's working out and stuff.
Yeah.
I get that impression they're on Lamar's timeline. So
Yeah, it's different with him and his mom representing him instead of having an agent. But it's kind of like Lamar's going to get his money. So if he decides to wait, if he does like Flacco did and he just waits,
yeah.
and if we get a Super Bowl, we're going to be in the same situation because you're going to have to pay him anyway.
Yeah.
But a Super Bowl takes that money a lot higher.
I can't believe how much they paid Deshaun Watson, $230 million.
I don't know. Cleveland confuses me. We're gonna have a show. We gotta have a Cleveland show too. They confuse me because why wouldn't you? I mean, it's like you need to get rid of Baker first because now you can't get it. So you don't have any first round picks. Who's gonna give you a first for Baker when we know?
They already know. They already know they're not getting the first round pick. You might. What happens? It might be like another team. They might have to pay somebody. Okay, we'll eat Baker's $18 million salary and give us a 6th round pick. That's what it's gonna be. Nobody, because everybody know you can't. The worst thing is everybody know you ain't got no bargaining power.
Right.
They know you got to get rid of him.
Right. He don't want to be there.
Right.
So it's
and all 31 teams know he don't want to be there. So we'll wait you out.
yeah.
You drag us in the training camp if you want, but they already know. Like the one question why you got 40 masseuse? But I don't, that's a whole nother thing, right? Because they say most players got 1 or 2 because they doing your body. Why you
Right.
got 40? But
Right.
like I said,
There's a lot of questions I have for that one too. Because I'm sitting back and I'm like, okay, there's a couple of them, a couple of the people we know they lied because the police came out,
Right.
but he's got a long way to go. He's still got 20 something to
Right.
go.
Well, like I told the people, if 1 or 2 people said don't eat at this restaurant, I might try it. But if 22 people tell me don't eat at a restaurant, I'm not going there. Now I can say all 22 I'm lying all over the top about, but 22 people say don't eat at that restaurant. I'm not going there, okay? Now I'm going to sit there and say, well, you know, what them 22 people know, you know, if 22 people tell me, I'm not going there. One or two or three I can kind of live with, but 22 people tell me, don't eat that restaurant, I'm not going.
What you think? So, how do you feel about the season? You think the season will be, or is it still too early for you?
Well, it's still kind of early. Well, you know, did that linebacker, did he leave or?
I haven't heard.
Well, he came in Monday. Yeah.
I haven't heard anything about him.
I think he's looking for. I think the Ravens. I said somewhere that they gave him a competitive. He looked for 1 year deal, $11 million. I think. Okay. I think they say they were competitive with the Patriots and everything, and so he's looking at a 1 year prove-it deal. I guess that's what I'm thinking, because he knows. See, right now the money's starting to dry up now. You know, Clarence Campbell's still out there waiting.
Oh, yeah.
Houston's out there waiting. Brandon Williams out there waiting. Pernell McPhee out there waiting. And see what happens, you know. As the money dry up, you know.
Right.
A lot of times, a lot of these players sitting on that couch come June, July after draft, they sitting on that couch and, you know, like Deshaun Elliott, he's sitting out there.
Oh, yeah.
And so what happens is the money's starting to dry up. You know, and then you might come back to the Ravens and you know, see Ricard thought Ricard wanted tight end money. Nobody giving you no tight end money.
Right.
You see Ricard came back.
Right.
I mean,
the moves that happen early always end up paying a lot of money.
Right.
If there's not somebody you gotta have.
Right.
You might as well just. I mean, we've always done. If you've been a Ravens fan, it gets frustrating, but it used to. But I kind of know that's what they do.
I got it. I've been used to it. I was fan. We ain't signed. I said, how many big name free agents have we signed? You know, Earl Thomas was one. But think about how many big name we traded for Anquan Bolden. But how many big name free agents did we ever sign?
I can't think. And we've been lucky to they fall to us.
Right.
Like when we got Steve Smith, I'm like, I didn't see that coming, and he just kind of fell to us. But they don't do stuff early.
No, they don't. They bring the right guy, and sometimes we bring the right guy, and you know he's not at the top of the line, but he fits into the system, you know.
Yeah.
But like you know, I don't know what Calais Campbell looking for, but like I said, somebody might, you know, he might come back to Raven, but you know he's a good leadership. But Brandon Williams, you know, I don't know what he's gonna get, so you never know. But as the money dwindles down. You know, people sitting on the couch and they got no phone. Then all of a sudden, July, you get desperate. Sign me anyway. I'll take it. They give me They give me a hamburger and a donut. They tell the agent take it, right? Because sometimes people Ricard overestimate his value, right?
Yeah.
You see, he came back, didn't he?
Yeah. I mean, with what he does, there's not a lot of teams that do that. I mean, we've been for. I mean, what's the guy we used to have? He's in San Francisco now.
Juice, I know you're talking
you know what I'm talking
about.
about? Yeah, he because when we had him, I was like, well, why but we've always had a fullback kind of role,
right?
But we never keep the guys. But but Ricard, I like him, so I'm glad to see him come back.
What do you think of Greg Roman?
I think okay. I think if he would, I'm not crazy about him,
right?
But the team doesn't seem to. The players don't really seem to say something negative.
Right.
But I need him to not panic.
Right.
When if we get the year, what was it? The 14-2 year.
Right.
When we were always 30, 35 points.
Right.
When we're down 14-0, don't panic. We're gonna get our 30 points.
Right.
And he just starts having Lamar throw the
ball.
ball.
That's exactly what happened. Because you know when we the Tennessee it was Tennessee or San Diego one playoff game, we wasn't that far behind. All of a sudden we slinging the ball around.
Tennessee, because I want to say they started. I think it was Tennessee. I know they started with the lead.
Right.
But it was early.
Right.
And it's like if we do what we do.
Right.
This is the first time with Lamar. It's the first time that we've actually had an offense that people would worry about. Like you really have to game plan.
Right.
I mean with Flacco, and I love Flacco, but I mean you really didn't game plan for him.
Right.
You just kind of just cover you. But with him, you gotta account
game
for
plan.
him.
Right.
So you gotta account for every player. So when we actually have that and we set a record in rushing and all that stuff. Why are you? What we do best is run the ball.
We was me and Frank. We was watching the Steeler game. We were pounding them. We ran the ball like 4 or 5 in a row. Now something got to get cute with the red zone. Who was that one play? Was it Green Bay? Hundley, you roll him to the right. He only
Yes.
got one way to go.
Right.
He only can throw. I mean,
Right.
the field is short field. Everybody's there. He only got one way to go. Why
Right.
don't you just roll him back and let him look? He rolled him to the right. I said, honey, he only got one way to go. But Greg Roman, he gets kind of cute. He's like, well, let me show you Lamar Jackson is a passer. Well, if we ran the ball, steal it. I'm like this. I'll run it 20 times until you stop it.
That's exactly.
I'm so mad at that stealing game, boy.
It's like when it's like when you play tic-tac-toe.
Right.
And if I go first, I go in the middle first every time, and I
Right.
keep winning, or it's a draw, but
Right.
I'm not losing.
Right.
Then every now and then, you're just like, well, let me try something
Right.
different. That's tic-tac-toe.
Right.
And this is football,
Right.
man. If it's working, I'm like you. I will run it over and
Right.
over. Maybe you.
Sprinkle in the cup.
Yeah. But something short. But if the running,
Like I tell people, the reason why Bill Belichick is successful, Belichick plays a game plan, game per game. He'll tell his running back, we're throwing it 50 times. You only getting but 2 carries, okay? Or he'll complete opposite. Hey, Brady, we're going to hand it off 50 times, right? You need to leave your ego at home, okay? This is what we're going to do. And that's what he does. There's some games he'll throw it 50 times. There's some games he'll run it 30 or 40 times. Belichick game plan. Who he playing against. He don't have Belichick don't have no system. Okay, these guys, and we played the New Orleans Saints, and they beat us here. In the they beat us here. You remember Tucker missed the field goal.
oh,
X-point, yeah.
when the wind took, yeah.
Yeah, but I remember a game, we played them twice. One game, he said he beat the Ravens. He looked at the statistics at home. If the Ravens get 24 points, they'll win. That's why, remember the game that Saints kept going for on 4th down?
Yes.
Yeah, he looked at the stats. He said that if the Ravens get 24 points at home, they'll win. He said that's why he kept going. He looked at the statistics. That's why he kept going for it on 4th down, because he knew if the Ravens get about 24 points, they normally win. Because I kept wondering, why are you going on 4th down? Why are you going on 4th down?
Yeah.
But anyway.
That's it. You know what? Let me pass out the phone number. If anybody wants to call in, the phone number is 443-267-6558. That's 443-267-6558. If you have any questions for Captain Defense, who has graced us today, I'm having a good time talking to you, Captain. You know what I want to ask you real quick? I saw that you went to NFL headquarters.
Yes.
And met. Tell me about that. That's in New York, right?
Yeah, Nike had a photo shoot, and I got picked for the photo shoot. So Nike flew a couple of fans up there, so they flew us up there. We was on the Crown Hotel on Times Square. Shoot, and next thing you know, then we walked to NFL headquarters. We met the commissioner. They had a Q&A session at the NFL headquarters on Park Avenue. Got to walk around there and talk to a bunch of other people. And Nike did a photo shoot. And it was good. It was good, and they put us up, picked me and my wife up there, because within a 2-month period, we went to New York. Me and my wife always paid to New York for Nike, and then a month later, ESPN flew us up there for I got inducted to the Hall of Fame.
Oh, this was at the same time?
Within 2 months, I said, we're going back to New York again. I said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to Connecticut. What's this for? I said, I'm going to induct the ESPN's Hall of Fame, right? Because the good thing, it went across all sports. Mm-hmm. A softball player went in, a hockey player. So this was big. This went across. It wasn't just strictly football. So I have a permanent plaque on ESPN's campus, right, up there. And this is what happened. You watch NFL Live?
Yes.
Okay, NFL Live. So I understand. So I tweet NFL Live every day. And they respond, they like my tweets. But I told my wife that because they got to be careful who they tweet back, who they acknowledge.
Okay.
I got that right. Laura, because I'll tweet, I say, NFL Live is on right now. She'll like it. But it puts, because she knows me well enough. I'm not on that, oh, you look fine in that red dress. She knows me well enough to know, because she got to be careful. Marcus Sweets, he'll come back. Dan Orlovsky, he'll come back. Mm-hmm. But I told my wife, basically all I'm doing is putting my brand out there. And they know who I am by now. And they know that, okay, he's a safe guy. He ain't a raving lunatic, right? And so, because especially women, they got to be careful whose tweets they like. Yeah, and
right,
so I tweet the show almost every day, and they'll come back, and like I said, NFL Live is on right now. So okay, let's get this quarterback situation. And I put something about Les Snead. I said these giving these quarterbacks money. I said they throwing away draft picks like Les Snead. I said Les Snead said, he had wear that T-shirt for the Rams, say F the draft picks.
Oh, right.
So I put, let's go like Les Snead. I said, they doing these draft, like Les Snead, say F. I put a bunch of uppercase these draft picks, right? And she came back. She said, yeah, Cap, they throwing away draft picks like that. I'm going with Les Snead said. So she came back. So basically, I tweeted to get my name out there and get my brand out there. That's what I do. So I tweet them every day. I watch it at 4 o'clock, and they know I'm on there. Marcus Spears, Dan Orlovsky. So basically, I'm just getting free. They like it, like Kimberly Martin on ESPN. She retweeted one of my tweets because I call her the, Kimberly Martin on ESPN.
Yeah.
I call her the relationship guy person, right? Because she talked relationship. So I tweeted up there. I said, yeah. I said, Kmart, the relationship, NFL players' relation. So she retweeted that, and then I tweeted something to RG3 about some of these rookie quarterbacks get forced in, they're not ready.
That's right. RG3's on there now,
Yeah,
right?
and sometimes these teams think these quarterbacks are going to be the savior. I said, like Sam Down on Josh Rivers, they're supposed to be the savior. They didn't work out. So RG3 came back and said, yeah, that's right. They force a lot of people. So I Google my information before I put it out there. I know what I'm talking about. It says, stuff like that.
Right.
But basically, I'm just throwing my name out there, and it doesn't cost me a dime, and it's a free tweet, right?
My Twitter game is very bad. I got to work on my Twitter game. I got to work on it. I'm going to start by following you when I get on and go from there.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing I learned about social media, you don't have to be on there every day, but your fans now, if you say I'm going to be on Twitter on Tuesday and Thursday, people have to know you're going to be there. You don't have to be there every day, right? Like me on Instagram, I send out good morning every day, and I get about 25, 30 likes on it. But my name is out there.
Right.
Captain Defense is on the Twitter, is on my. Basically, all I'm saying is good morning. Right. I'll take a photo and I'll put it in my story. Good morning, how you doing? Have a good day. And I put it on my Instagram. Basically, I'm just throwing my name out there. And because I have a following, I got my motivation stuff and I got my Raven stuff. There's some people following my Ravens, but there's some people around the world following me because because the stuff I say, motivational, affects everybody. Black, white, people in Pakistan, people in India, about stuff like that. Like John Maxwell said, somebody knows how will always have a job. But somebody knows why will always be the boss.
Okay.
I was talking to this kid at McDonald's French fries. He says, do you know why they cook them at that temperature? He said, no, I just turned a knob to that. Do you know why? He said, no. I said, why don't you find out why you got to cook them at a temperature? Find out why, if you don't cook them at temperature. I said, the problem solvers make the money. The people like me, I can walk around this room and find 20, 30 things wrong. And you ask, Captain, do you have any solutions? Well, no. And you'll say, well, I can find what's wrong myself. I'm looking for solutions.
Right.
And I tell the kids that the problem solvers make the money. I can send a 5-year-old to walk around here and find problems. Okay, man, here's the 20 problems I found. What, do you have any suggestions? No. Well, shit, So I learned that, right? You know what I mean? You can find your own problems, right? Yeah. So I tell people all the time, if you fix problems, those are the people who make the money, the problem solver. Like, say, if I have a problem, I present to my boss. He don't have to like it, but he knows I got a suggestion. And I'm a strong believer in body language. People make an impression. Your attitude gets in the room before you do. The reason why I take so many pictures, because I radiate, right? Because people say, black, white, he looks like, I'm not walking around like I'm mad at the world. I talk to everybody, right? So people feel comfortable. People let me hold their babies. You know, the picture got taken with babies. People don't let anybody hold their babies, right?
Yeah.
And it's a comfort zone. But I tell people all the time, there's certain looks I have when I'm in Baltimore City, but there's certain looks when I'm when I'm Captain D. They ain't the same, right? So I tell her, and so people see you and they migrate to you and they ask for picture take, because everybody who give them a picture take got a job. I don't know what they do, but they got a job. There's somebody I know. They can say, "Oh, y'all got a picture taken with Captain D."
Right.
Did you see my Instagram this past weekend?
The weekend, is that with the at the
Polar Plunge?
Yeah. I saw a couple of it. You got some pictures. I saw a couple. Did you find his song?
No,
keep on looking, buddy. yeah. Look on Spotify. Might be that. But
that's what. In fact,
you
let
ain't
me say
gonna
it real quick. If anybody, we're talking to Captain Defense. If anybody can find a rap song by Captain Defense
called Raw Raw Ravens.
Raw Raw Ravens.
Yeah.
Please send it to me. I got to reach out on my social. I have a
You ain't gonna-
diverse group. Somebody must
Somebody ain't
have
gonna
it.
find it. But anyway, this is what I
Somebody's gonna find that song.
Huh?
Somebody's gonna find that song. I just need to.
But like them, like on on your story, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So all I said was good night. I got 25 likes. Basically, I'm just doing to put my name out there. That's all. But this is what I did over Yeah, I did a polar plunge, but I did two more. I did two more functions. Let me see.
Yeah, it was cold. What day was it? Were you there Saturday? Was that Saturday? Or
Yeah,
Sunday?
yeah, it was Saturday. So
It was
so
cold
this,
out that
So
day.
this was that one Roost function. So I like.
Okay. See, now I always see you with pictures. See, now that one I
See-
could get in because
See, all these people, they come to me ask picture. I don't ask anybody. Hey,
Yeah.
can I get a picture, right? And I'm always comfortable. This was a nice picture, right? And so I'm always, I'm always cordial to people because all these people know somebody,
Yes.
and they can say, yeah, Captain D was nice, man. He got a picture. I don't know what they do, but like I said, if I ask them, like these kids, they're wild. These college kids, I took a picture with them. They said, "There's Captain D. Can you take a picture?" Yeah. So that's basically I'm doing is networking. That's all I'm doing. This is part of networking.
How busy are you now?
See this? Yeah, she's gonna be a future doctor. She's gonna be that's why I put the future doctor Lucy, whatever her name is. Yeah.
That's a lot of pictures.
Who? This ain't nothing. Shoot. This was a nice picture. When you get a picture taken with kids, that always. And my page
Here's
is
a-
pretty clean. That's why they're able to invite me. I can go to their school. People ask me to come to schools, and this is what I put right here.
Okay, that's true. Negativity brings your immune
But
system
see
down.
what people don't know. What people don't know that what you think affects your medical thing. Because I was in the military in cryptology, right? I've taken 10 polygraph tests, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you take the polygraph, they put the stuff on you. They just ask a question. So when they take the polygraph test, you get heart palpitations, you sweating, and you get nervous, right?
Mm-hmm.
But nobody put their hands on you,
Okay,
right?
right.
Nobody put their hands on you.
No,
Right? It's up here.
it's all there.
But and the same with how you feel. Some people go to the doctor. My wife's blood pressure when she go to the doctor's high. Sitting at the kitchen table, it isn't. I said, "What's the difference?"
Yeah,
Right.
that's-
And see, some people assume some people assume things not going to go right. I never do. I deal with them as they come. Right. I don't assume. Every job I apply for, I'm shocked that I didn't get it. That's just how I roll through life, right? Because a friend of mine applied for a job, and he said, "Am I holding you up? Am I holding you up?"
Oh no, I'm
No,
gonna be here.
no.
No, we here. What,
Well,
another hour? What?
Yeah, when I applied for let me tell you, Charles County got a law that if you get speeding tickets and you got too many points, you can work it off in community service, right? Do 8 hours, like say you got a bunch of points you need to get off. Well, they might have you raking leaves, picking up grass, and doing anything in the community. So what happened is, so I told my wife to send me a ticket, and my wife says, "You gonna go down there? Yeah. What are you gonna sign you?" I told my wife, "Let me prove a point." So I go down there. I got a shirt and I got a tie on, right? The lady don't know me from Adam. She just got my name down there. The guy in front of them, yeah, we having you picking up grass, you pick up trash. I get up there, she says, "Oh, we can have you handing out auctions for painting at the JCs, right?" The guy behind me picking up the trash. I said, "Look, it's about perception. That lady didn't know me from Adam. The fact I had a shirt on, I looked like I could hand out an auction, right?" I said, "How you look is how you perception, right?" She didn't know me, didn't know anything, didn't know my educational level, didn't anything. She just looked at me and says, "Okay, we're having an auction. We want you to hand out some painting for 8 hours on a Sunday at the auction." I said, "Okay." God said, "They are genius. Well, how come you ain't raking leaves? How come you ain't picking up trash?" I said, "No." I said, "I don't. I said, I don't know." Or a young man come to my house. He said, "I'm collecting money for college." I said, "Man." I said, "Buddy, you can't come to people's house with a hat on the side, your pants off, look like a college." I said, "Buddy, just put a shirt and tie." He came back, got more money. Now you look like a college student. Before you look like a hood. I ain't opening up my door.
Right.
I said, I said, life is about perception, but sometimes we get caught up in a bunch of nonsense. But that lady gave me that painting simply because my perception. Or a friend of mine, he applied for a job. He says, "Captain D, I'm not going to get the job." I said, "No, I ain't thinking get the job." 2 weeks later, you didn't get the job. He said, "How do you know?" You wrote your resume like you weren't going to get the job. You walked into the room like you were going to get the job. Confidence walks in.
Right.
Every place I walk in, I act like I own the room, right? Whether I think I do or not. My mother sprayed me with hater repellent when I was 13 years old, so it just bounces off, right? So I walk into the room like I own the room. That guy in the pink shirt looking at me, I don't really care. But what happened is you wrote your resume like you wouldn't get the job. You walked into the room like you would get the job. And you set your mind up for failure. Every job I ain't got, but I walked in. You can answer the questions. He said, "I didn't get the job." I said, "Well, you wrote your resume." if you thought you can get the job, you'd spend 2 hours or 3 hours, 2 days. But since you wasn't going to get it, you put it together for like 40 minutes. Yeah, this is it. Because you wasn't going to get it, right? So
Yeah.
I'm a very positive and
That's actually healthy for you too. Are you positive? Right?
of course. What else? See, the thing is, because we're in positive doesn't mean I'm in denial. I got a hole in my roof, right? Mm-hmm. Now I can sit there, I'm positive, but I got a hole in my roof, saying, "Well, I can't afford it. You know, why did this happen to me? Why didn't it happen last week? My check come in. Ain't fixing the hole in the roof. I'm putting my energy to getting a hole in the roof. Okay, I'm not sitting there. Woe is me. I need to get the roof. I need to get the roof fixed. I'm not wasting my time. The roof didn't give me a 2-minute warning. It didn't give me a 2-week warning. It wasn't waiting to payday. The roof get fixed. And because I'm halfway, I'm nice to people. I can pick up the phone and call my buddy and say, man, can you give me $1,000 so I get my roof fixed? Yeah, because I haven't burned any bridges. That I can pick up the phone and call me. Now, if you burn the bridges, don't call me and tell you your roof fixed. I ain't got no money, right? And that's what I'm saying. So I go through life that way, and what happens is it affects your brain. You know how you think affects your health and it affects your brain. Like coming back from Chicago, that guy didn't have to upgrade me to first class. Didn't cost me a dime. I was just talking to him and telling him I understood. He didn't have to do it. Maybe he was having a bad day, and I was the first person that said do it. So I kind of go through life. I have down moments, but I don't have down negative attitudes, hours and weeks and stuff. I kind of get down and pick myself up because woe is me. Or my question is, okay, Wes, this Captain, this happened. What are you gonna do about it? Like I put in all sorts of contests. Mom said, you win? I said, nope. So what are you doing now? I'm off to the next one. She said, you went out? Nope. Like that Ford Hall of Fame had a fan of the year. Ed Reed came to my house. Ed Reed came to my house, had me a football.
Wow.
Yeah, he had me a football because they had a Hall of Famer come to each fan house. So I was one of the final 6. So Ed Reed, I didn't win.
But you didn't know he was like.
I didn't know he was coming. No, I'm sitting there talking to the guy in my living room. I had a film crew there, and they were filming, and he knocked the door. Ed Reed showed up. I got autographed football sitting in my house with Ed Reed.
Wow.
And he came there, and I was one of the 6 fathers. But my wife said, you know what? I said, no. I'm off to the next one. Then I did a photo. Amazon.com came to my house also. I did something for their Thursday night football package. They was in my living room, so I did a commercial about 3 years ago out in front of my house for Amazon.com.
I try to find because I'm looking at all these commercials. You were on.
You saw the billboard, right? About 2 months ago.
Yes, I saw that. But see, that's impressive. But I was I was on YouTube. I'm like, maybe I can pull up. I know you on that night NBC Nightly News.
Right. Did you see the one on that Yahoo? I did one with Sarah Goose on. It's on Yahoo, I think. Because some of them don't last. Yeah, I did the one on Yahoo. I was at the stadium and I did one like that. Because when you create a brand, when somebody says Captain D, you want to think that he gets along with everybody and he's uplifting and everything. Because there's so much negativity in the page, and there's so much negativity in the world, and it's easy to jump. Like I told the people, I told a person about, if you like oranges, if I like oranges, I can go on Google and find 1,000 oranges, how oranges are better than apples, right? Because you found what you're looking for, right? Right. Also, and then I can find 1,000 articles on why apples are bad for you. What you look for, you'll find. If you're a negative person, you easily find negative. It's out there, right? If I don't like you, I can find 100 articles why this show is bad. If that's my thing, but I don't get into
not this show.
Any show, no,
not
any
this show.
No. But
This show
no, yeah. But anyway, like I told people, I said. In somebody's story, you the bad guy. You run into a lot of people.
Yeah.
And what happens? Some of us, I lift people up. Some of us pull each other down. Right.
Yeah.
I'm about uplifting. If I can help your show, I can help your show. Right. I'm not. I have no agenda. I don't really. If I can help a show, because like I said, it's about almost 200 miles. I'm gonna get home like 11 o'clock. But if I can help your show, I'll do it. But sometimes we get caught up in. I ain't help a show, he might get big, he might think. I don't do that. I throw it out there. If I can help a brother, I help him, right? But then some people trying to, you ask them to help, they act like you got an agenda. I said, look, I'm just that guy with them positive sweatshirts. I said, I ain't got no agenda. I was gonna put them, throw it on my page, but keep on selling your stuff out of the car. Outside the box thinkers are different. See, some people can't.
Captain D, do you have season tickets for the Ravens?
Yeah, been every game but 3 since they've been here.
Really?
Wow.
Yep. I've been out. Yeah, I announced one of the draft picks about 4 years ago at the Castle. They had fans announce the draft pick about 4 years ago out at the Castle. Yeah, on live on NFL.
Tell me about
like
the
that.
Castle. I have
That thing is not. It's a castle, buddy.
I see pictures here and there, and little videos, but I don't
Got a
know
spir-
anybody.
It got a spiral stair. Well, they asked me to. See, I know the marketing girl out there. She always asks me to do something. Kate, she's a. She's a marketing person. She'll call me. She'll email me. So, like, if ESPN is looking for me, she'll call me. If somebody looking for me for something, or something about whatever, commercial, whatever, she'll get my name. They'll email me and say, we got the name for the marketing person. But yes, it's a pretty impressive place. It's big. And I met, just like me, this is another subject, about the black coaches, right? Mm-hmm. So I told my wife, said, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to write the owners of 8 NFL teams. So I wrote the owners of 8 NFL teams, right? Mm-hmm. I sent a certified letter, right? I sent a certified mail, right? It's about black coaches. I said, we can't lead an NFL roster with 70% of the men are black. Is that what you're saying? We don't have the intelligence. I say Matt Patricia was 23-10 in Detroit. Only way he got the job in Detroit because he's one of Belichick's disciples. Joe Judge, he was a special teams coach for Bill Belichick. And I went on there. I went on there hard. I said, one of these days, the players gonna get involved, right? So
yeah.
So my wife, I wrote the owner of the Ravens. I wrote the owner of the Jaguars. I wrote the owners of Mike Brown of Cincinnati Bengals. I wrote the owners of the Buffalo Bills. I sent a certified mail. So I told my wife one thing, sure, it got to the facility because I got it. I said,
you got a receipt.
I got a receipt, right?
Right.
So all of a sudden, a week later, they announced Anthony Weaver is one of the coaches, right? Anthony Weaver.
Yeah.
I didn't say nothing, right? I told my wife. Then all of a sudden, the NFL got a new diversity team. The owners are meeting. The owners are meeting in Florida now. The owners meeting. So they got this new diversity by coaches, right? And I told my wife. I told my wife, I don't know, because I wrote Goodell too.
Okay.
And I wrote Troy Vincent also.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I wrote it was the Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's about 8 of them. Yeah, that I wrote. And I wrote the owner of the Seattle Seahawks too. I kind of picked them at random, right? And so I wrote them, and I was hard on them. I said, we can't lead men. Jim Caldwell can't get a job. But I said Flores in Florida had a winning record. He can't, and I said he can't get a job. Eric Bieniemy, he can't get a job.
And they have no room for error. What's the guy that used to be in Cleveland? Hugh
Jackson got fired.
It's like it was a bad team.
Right.
So now they're finally decent. They're
Right.
not terrible, and then you fire him, and when you
Well, see, when I write a letter, I have my facts together. I said the guy Vince Joseph, he got fired in Vince Joseph, Denver. He got fired in Denver after 1 year, and then Vince Cullen, Texas guy, he was set up for failure. And I said I read somewhere that that black coaches has almost a 40% get fired after one season. I had stats on there.
Yeah.
I put it together. I went hard after Goodell, and I said, and Goodell came out. We need more diversity. And I put in there. Well, since Goodell worked for you, and he said we need diversity, that's the ball I need to know. And then I put a quote about John Lewis. He said, when something not right, something don't seem right, you're obliged to say something. So I put the quote. I says, I'm saying something. And I told my wife. She says, well, you think? I said, Vern, I'm like this. I complain about something, I do it. I can look there and say, I tried to do something. I said something.
Right.
I just didn't let it drop, right? Now, whether they say anything, they owe me no explanation. They owe me nothing. But I can look in the mirror and say, well, Wes, you tried to do something. You did. They got my letter. I'm quite sure they got it.
Yeah.
My wife said, I said, I don't know, Levert. I said, I told my wife, 8 owners got it. They got it. It went to their headquarters. Somebody opened it, and then somebody made it thrown in the trash. Bashadi got one, too. He was the first one I wrote.
Wow.
And on all my letters, I didn't put what teams I wrote. I said, you're the 8th owner. Right, and
Okay.
he was first, and I wrote Troy Vincent, and I wrote, well, one thing for sure, because I said, the players going to get involved. The players going, okay, until you hire more blacks, we ain't showing up for OTAs. See, the owners ain't going to get it into their money. And I
Right.
put on there, I said, you guys better get ahead of it, because once the players get involved, they're going to say, we ain't showing up until there's more African-American coaches.
Yeah.
And then, but I told him, I said, you better get ahead of the game, because Troy Matthews, Tyrann Matthews for the Chiefs, he mentioned that exact thing. I didn't put his name in there. He mentioned the same thing. I said, don't worry, wait till the players get involved, and then they're going to say, well, we ain't showing for OTA, all that. The top blacks say we ain't showing up for Dak Prescott, Mahomes, and I'm gonna say, hey, we ain't showing up for training camp until there's more diversity. And my wife said, you think? I said, I don't know, But it sure is strange. I saw it on ESPN about a diversity committee and Rick Smith.
Well,
I don't know.
Well, they probably if they're not even hearing that, like if that never crossed their mind,
Right.
And then you go, wait a minute, because that will make you do something. Money, messing
Right.
with their money is how you gonna make some.
Right.
change.
When the players get involved, we ain't showing up, or like I told my wife, somebody. I'm sure some of the owners got it. Somebody said, let's show it to the owner. Because one thing, if Adam Schefter ever get a hold of it, some fan. I said, yep, I wrote it. Who did you write? I got the receipt for these 8 teams. It went to their facility. Now, if somebody didn't give it to you, that on me. But I sent it to your facility, and I got the receipt because I have a spreadsheet on it. Who I sent it to, the date, and I got all the receipts and certification. It's certified mail, and somebody at your facility because I got a tracking number. It was signed for the Kansas City Chiefs. It was signed for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was signed for the Jacksonville headquarters. It was signed for the Buffalo Bills, Cincinnati Bengals. I got my receipts, because I told the brother, it might come out. Well, some fan wrote the NFL. I said, that was me. And they says, well, did your owner do anything about it? I said, it got to the facility at training camp. It got at the Orange Mills. What happened there, I don't know. If he didn't see it, like my mother said, don't accuse somebody you don't know. All I know is it made it to the facility, right? And this is the person who signed it, and this is the date, and this is the time it made it to Kansas City Chiefs headquarters. This is the time and date it made it to Kansas City's headquarters. I said, right here. Well, do you think you got it? I have no idea. You need to talk to whoever signed for it at the headquarters.
Right.
Because they got there at 2 o'clock. Now, if somebody else in hot water, somebody else didn't, now maybe somebody didn't think it was that important. I called them out. I said, well, maybe somebody at your organization didn't think this letter was that important. Maybe it isn't. But sometimes all it takes, my wife says, she said, you think the letter? I said, I don't know, right? They announced a committee today, and all the owners are meeting there. 8 of them got eight letters went to their facility. So, out of them 8, somebody showed it to somebody.
Hey, that's how it is.
But sometimes we sit back and don't do anything. I don't say anything. But I said something because I wrote Troy Vincent before. Troy Vincent wrote me a letter back before about something else, and I wrote Goodell a couple of times. Goodell knows I am because I wrote him 2 or 3 times about stuff. Right now, whether he gets it or not. Mm-hmm. But I just do my own thing. And don't worry, Adam Schefter get a whole lot. Say, yeah, there's a letter.
Captain Defense, could you explain the uniform to us?
Oh, okay. Well, like I said, I used to have a regular T-shirt. Since I just had a regular T-shirt, I bought these camouflage pants. And since I was in the military for 24 years, I got all the branches of the military across of it. Then I got different things. Since I talked to kids about bullying, I have the bully patch in there, and I'm a cancer survivor.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Great job.
Yeah,
So is my son.
Yeah, I survived cancer. And then I put different. Then I got in that Pro Football Ultimate Fan Association patch, and I trademarked this name, Baltimore Tough.
Okay.
For some. Then I put, I got official Raven fan. So I put various patches on it. But I wanted my uniform to have like a military theme to it, and because some of these uniforms are scary. I wanted my uniform to be, that being Captain Defense have to look a certain way, but I didn't want to be too scary where kids wouldn't approach you. Right, because some of these people got these big masks and everything. They don't get it.
A lot of those.
Lot of. They think the scarier the better. But I got compliments on my uniform wherever I've been. I went to Seattle. The guy said, "You know what? You got one of the best outfits I've seen." I said, "Oh, well, thank you very much." And because it's not, it's. Let me say, or the spikes and chains and this defense sign is a conversation. There's stories I can tell you about this one, but are we on there?
Yeah. I'm gonna ask you later.
Yeah. But yeah, so I go in a lot of schools, and I went to a graduation one time. I spoke at a graduation at a middle school in Bowie. The principal called me on the phone. We'd like you to be the guest speaker for the graduation, but can you take off the spikes and chains? Because you don't want some kid going back home and says, "Hey, guess what we did? Some guy spoke at that graduation with spikes and chains." But I got spikes out of the Halloween shop.
Okay.
And I just put them on there, and my wife says, "We're gonna do it from outside." I don't know, so I just threw them on there, kind of add to the thing, and being Captain Defense, and then I put this official Raven fan. Don't ask me. I just put that on there.
When you at the game, are you more into hyping the crowd up, or are you there to watch the game?
No, I'm more or less. Well, when I first go in, I take a lot of pictures. Well, I take about 150 pictures a game, and then I'm up at top deck on 4th down. I'm always up with my defense sign.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm up. Yeah, I'm hyping the crowd up on defense, and then like the 3rd, 4th. I mean, like about 10 minutes for game, sometimes I'll start walking towards the lower deck. But yeah, very seldom I see the whole game. Sometimes I miss part of the game because I'm talking, taking pictures.
Yeah,
That's why I don't want to be. I don't want to be Captain Defense.
Yeah.
You didn't ruin my day.
Yeah, because sometimes, or one time, I go in the bathroom and this guy said, "Yo, Captain D, what's up?" I said, "Oh, no, I'm
Hey, brother, I'm a little busy. Can I get you in a second?
Yeah, I'm up there like, get the urinal and say, "Yeah, what's up, Captain?"
Yeah, I mean,
or sometime I'll be in line getting something. They say, "Captain D, hey, I'll pay for your meal. Can I get a picture afterwards?" I said, "Sure." Yeah, I'll be buying something. Sure. But yeah, I'm mostly hopping around. I get up on, you fourth down in your defense and and stuff like that. And
it's got to be hard not to. I mean, it's got to be hard not to talk to you. Well, if I see you, it's going to be in between quarters.
right.
That's when I try to run, because if I'm at myself, I'm like, I'm trying to time it before everybody else. But everybody's going to break at the same time.
Right.
But
I can't be Captain Defense because I'm telling you, when I'm watching the game, I don't want to be bothered.
Right.
Leave me alone.
Well, sometimes I record a game. Sometimes I go home and watch it. I said, what was that when that was happening? Sometimes I'll miss it, or sometimes, especially for the game, I'm trying to get up my seat. People want to take pictures as I'm rolling up to my seat. They get the national anthem because I'm always accommodating, right?
Right.
And I take pictures. Like I said, I'm always because everybody I eat, I call it networking 101. I'm networking, and that's how I sold my book. Because this one guy,
tell us about this too.
This is a book. I'm a read. I read a book a month, and I told people the reason why I read because I'm competing against myself. There's some people can read 4 or 5 books in a week or whatever, but I'm just competing against myself. And so I started reading a book a month, and I told people it's a psychological aspect. Some days I read 2 pages, some days I read 5. But when I go to bed at night, I say, "Captain D, did you read today?" "Yep, I did."
Okay.
And that makes me feel good. I'm well above American average. I read books, so I read it. And like I tell people, and I'm on YouTube, I tell people I got a PhD from YouTube University. when I wanted to invest, Robinhood, the online investment, I thought, well, I'm an investor in Robinhood. She said, okay. I went downstairs. This guy had a video, and he was showing his girlfriend who knew nothing about Robinhood. After about 30 minutes, I came down. My wife said, I just completed a course at YouTube downstairs. I got it now. Because he was showing us step by step. The information's out there. You just got to go get it.
Right.
So I opened up an account through Robinhood. And it's I don't have much money in there, but I've learned how to move money. This one stock I had, it was called automatic trucking. Trucks that can drive themselves, right?
Yeah.
They've been testing them, right?
Yeah,
TSA.
they're not out officially.
No,
Okay.
not official. Yeah,
Okay.
but you don't need a driver. They can drive across the West Coast. You ain't got to pay overtime. They can track it and everything. So I got it.
Wow.
It was like $25 a share, and I got it. Well, it got up to 50, and I told my wife I got greedy. I said, let me see if it rolls. NASDAQ, what, $12 a share? I took my money out when it dropped to like 26. I took my money out. I had much money, but I took my money out when it dropped down. But it's like $12 a share. I was like, my God. So basically, I got into it to learn. I know a little bit about stock, but it's kind of a game. I don't have that much money, but I learned how to they teach me how to read because I'm always like learning things, and so I did that. But anyway, my book is about it's for first graders and kindergartens, and I've read it to a couple of kindergarten classes.
Okay.
And I've sold them. They go for like $12, and you can order them online. But anyway, it's a nice book, and I like about it's got big print on there.
Okay.
You don't need your glasses to read it.
No,
Captain Defense, he did.
Yeah, right. As a grandpa, I say, hey, because I like a reader, right? And so when I bought the book, and I started, I started reading, and then people started buying it, and my manager, put it that I can order, that you can order online, and she gave me one of them things. So what happened is, somebody asked me to show up for an autograph signing. Like the guy said, Captain D, we have an autograph signing for Mark Andrews. Can you come? I said, yeah. So what happened is, he'll invite me to come, and then he'll put on his page, Captain D's going to be there. Then the place to have in the bar, put Captain D's going to be there. And then I put where I'm going to be at. So all 3 of us working together, right?
Okay.
So I go to the autograph, I'm taking pictures, and then the guy at the autograph give me free autograph pictures of Mark Andrews, and then I sell my book there while I'm there.
Okay.
So all 3 of us kind of,
working
all
together.
three of us get something out of it, right?
Yeah.
You want me to show up, and then I put on my social media platform that Captain D's going to be there.
Yeah.
And so that's how it works. All 3 of us works, and then, like I said, I sell my books there,
You doing well with the book?
Yeah. I think I got 17 left. Yeah. I think we had like
Wow.
Yeah.
Good deal.
It's like books.
Right.
You're a rapper.
Right. Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
you sold out. You sold out.
Yeah.
So
Because-
it sounds like you it sounds like you're platinum.
right.
No.
Well, the thing is, my biggest strength is I don't care if I get laughed at, as long as I'm true to myself.
Mhm.
But too many people scared to get out of that comfort zone.
Yeah.
They scared to get right.
Yeah.
They scared to get it. They stay right here because, like I said, when you get out of your comfort zone, people gonna say you're the wrong color, you're the wrong size, you're the wrong this. You need to get back in there. My mother said, "Wherever God puts you is where you belong." That's just what I do, and I hang out of my comfort zone. If like I said, if 20 people go that way, I'm comfortable saying, "Hey, look at that idiot standing over him by himself. He's not like me." You're right. I'm not going with you 20 people just because you 20 people going. I stand on my own. I'll stand on my own reputation. If you want to call me stupid and idiot, that's fine. I'm comfortable, right? And whatever I get, I'm not chasing likes. People all the time they say, "Captain D, you can buy 1,000 likes." I said, "Nope. People on my page are the one I'm following. I'm not buying fake people. I figure you follow me. If I put something on the page, I get 1 like or get 10 likes. Doesn't really bother me because at the end of my day, God's going to ask me, what did I do for other people? Not how many likes I got. Just because I got 1 million likes, it doesn't make me any. That doesn't get me. How many people did you affect in a positive life? And if I came to this way, I've been people in the hospital. A 9-year-old.
That's got to be a good feeling for you too.
Yeah.
But it's got to they got to perk up when they see you come in.
A 9-year-old girl was in the hospital. Was about 15 years. She had an unfortunate accident. This lady hits me on social media, and she said, "Captain D, can you come visit a friend of mine? Her daughter had a fortunate accident, unfortunate accident." And she asked me, could I come up there, right? And Laverne said, "Do you know the people?" I said, "No." But the girl asked me, right? And so I said, "Marsh, what are you going to say when you get there?" So I said, "I don't know." So it was at John Hopkins. She's up at John Hopkins up at the pediatrics ward. So I go up there, and I don't know the family, but the friend. I go up there, so I start talking to her. Her name is Madeline. And she says, and you know, the family was down in the dumps, and her father was down in the dumps, and they was. So I started talking to him, and I told Madeline, I said, Madeline, I said, remember this. I said, use this as your measuring stick. If you can handle this, everything else falls under this. If some guy breaks up, he said, "Hey, I almost died. My leg got amputated. I don't care. I can handle this." And so she did. So I went up there like 3 days in a row, and when the family and everything helping them get through it. So they got through it. Now she's at college. She's in a nursing program now. She's going. She's real. She's doing really well, right? She's playing lacrosse, right?
Yeah.
And then what happened is, I met her parents. One of their best friends owned a big time winery. He said, "Captain D, if you ever need any wine," so I met them out of Jarrettsville. So I met a friend because I met them, right?
Right.
Or another time, I went to a lady up in Annapolis. I don't care what color you are. If you need help, I help. I don't. You know, God put me here to help anybody who wants help. I don't get caught up in that, right? Because I'm here for everybody. You know, if you want a picture, take me. I don't really care. I don't narrow my focus. This book is for everybody who likes to read. Doesn't care who you are, right? So this guy said, "Can you visit the hospital?" I said, "Sure." Didn't know the guy. Didn't know him from Adam. He said, "Can you visit my grandmother?" I said, "Sure." So I went to visit grandma. She was terminally ill up in Annapolis hospital. So I went and talked to her and everything. And I was laughing and everything. We had a good time. But anyway, she passed away. But I got a lot of thank yous from the family for going up there, right? Because sometimes when I go places, God gives me the words once I get there. Sometimes I don't know what I'm saying, but after I get there. And she was a little laugh. She said, "Yeah, my grandma likes to laugh." And they was like, so they thanked me, and I got a bunch of things for doing. But I felt good after doing it.
Yeah.
And then another time, this guy had an accident. His daughter, 17-year-old daughter, was in an accident, and she was in an accident. He asked me, could I come up to the hospital up in Hagerstown, I think it was. But anyway, so I kept trying to get a hold of him, right? So I went up there, right? And I visited the daughter, and I gave her an autograph, and I was talking to her. So I got back home, and I told my wife, I says, you know, that guy never said anything. He never thanked me enough. And my wife says, the only way she says, "Was that why you did it?" And I said, "No, you're right. As long as I know I did the right thing, right? If you're doing it for thanks, you're not doing it for right." And I said, "You're right." So I caught myself. You know, she put things in perspective. I said, "You're right." I said, "I know I did the right thing." So it did. So if you can, you know, because I always like to make people feel better. If I can't help you, I won't hurt you. I'll leave you alone. I don't have to tell you that. I get no joy making you feel bad about yourself. That's just my life is not like that. I get no satisfaction. If I can lift you, I will. If I can't, I'll leave you alone. You know, and that has served me well. And that's why I put my head on. I'm not a perfect person, but I try to be nice to everybody and try to lift people up if I can help you.
Right.
Help you. You know. But one thing, I'll move on. I'll put my hand out to help you, but I'm not chasing you down. I gave a young brother an article. I said, look, can you read this article? I texted to him on Google about something he was working on. It was on Monday. I said, can you text? I said, about a paragraph, Ron. I'll text it to you. Did you read the article? I didn't have time. I said, move on. Meantime, you ain't got 2 minutes to read it. I said, I'll move on. I don't. You're not wasting my time.
Yeah.
If it ain't a priority on your list, I'm not up on mine. If you didn't have a read on your iPhone, you mean you have 5 minutes to read the article? You was in the bathroom. It's only like 2 paragraphs. And so I move on. And people don't waste my time. I move on. I can, you know, you don't have time to read the article.
Right.
Just a little bit. So I like.
It's a little bit of time.
If it's important to you,
you'll find the time.
yeah, people will find the time to do it. And my motto is about texting. This is my motto about texting. No response is a response. If I text you and I say, yeah, man, I'm coming on your show, you don't respond, you responded by not texting me. So I don't chase people down. I don't send you 1,000 texts. Hey, I'm getting on the show. That's my rule.
You respond, and I'm like, oh, okay, and then in our communication, I mean, you responded, so I'm like, I'll send something, and you might be like me, I'm not always on.
But I'm not always on it. I get to it, but I will respond.
Right. You responded every time.
Right.
Every time, and I'm telling you, the first time I was like, he responded. You know, I was like, okay, and then you said, I said, can I get a picture with you? You said, well, I'm not gonna be in uniform. Do you remember?
Yeah, I
you
remember.
said you weren't gonna be in uniform. I was like, I would. In my mind, I'm like, but I wanted to see you anyway.
Right.
But I was like, in my mind, I was like, but I want the picture.
Okay.
But I didn't say that.
Right.
But in my mind, I was like, I wanted the picture.
Right. But I know. But I told you I would. Right.
Right. You did.
Right.
You did.
Right. I told you would because, like I said, I don't know who you know, but after this, you might know somebody that can say, hey, why don't you ask Captain D? That's what it's about. But some people don't want to pay the price. I can sit in the comfort of my home on Zoom. It'd be a lot easier, but it doesn't change perspective. But because I talked to you, now you know me. Yeah. You might run this mic. Well, Captain D will come because I don't know who you know and you don't know who I know, right?
Right.
And so that's about networking, about helping people. Simply so the however far it took me to work up there is well worth it, because I'm something gonna. Yeah, I get
admirable.
Some, huh?
That's admirable.
It is.
What's that?
The fact that what you just said,
Yeah.
the sacrifice that you made for us, that means a lot to us.
Well, it's not real a sacrifice, but what I'm saying is to make it. Some people only want to do things of convenience. Well, I'm not. But like I said, I'm gonna get something gonna come my way about this. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But at least I'm helping you out. Then at the end of the day, I say, well, I help.
And
right.
I appreciate the help. And then and in listening to all of the charity and things that you. I do know a lot of people that would probably love for you to do something or whatever, and it also do well for your books and things like that. So there's a lot that can go on.
Right, it's about helping you. But see, some people only want to do. See, successful people do stuff when they don't feel like it. That's why they become successful.
Okay.
Unsuccessful people sit on the couch where I don't feel like it, so they don't do it. That's why. Right. Successful people willing to put in the work. See, I'm gonna call myself one of the 3 or 4% that we willing to do. See, the 97% people working for the 3%ers. We doing what the 97 people won't do.
Yeah.
That's how I became Captain D. See, the 3%, 97% wouldn't drive up here.
I had no idea you were coming from.
It didn't really matter.
But I'm thinking you're in the Baltimore area, and then I was curious. I'm like, did you grow up here? So you've answered a lot of stuff I was curious about.
Yeah. I grew up here, and then I went in the Navy for 24 years. I was in cryptology for 24 years. Then I worked for the government. I've been around the world, stationed in Iceland, Panama, U.S. Embassy, England, Japan, you name it. So I did that, and like I said, both my daughters, like I said, they got the master's degree. One, like I said, one is a senior scientist, and one is a multicultural teacher. So I do, and so I always try to talk to people about education. Like my grandson, he knows a lot about airplanes. And he's sharp, and he likes playing basketball, and he likes doing cartwheels. But people say, he gonna be a basketball player? I said, no. Any math problem you got, my grandson be able to do it. You write it up on the board, he'll do it. You ain't pigeonholing him.
Wow.
He'll find his niche, but you ain't pushing him to the NBA. If he wants to go, he's gonna be tall because he's one of the tallest people in his class. But you ain't pushing. If he wants to go there, he'll go. But you ain't. If he wants to fly airplane, he'll fly airplane. But you're not pushing him. You're not pushing my grandson.
Yeah.
You know,
Do you know who that G-Paw is captain defense?
Yeah, he knows me. Oh yeah.
That's it.
He taught his kids in class. He old enough now. Yeah, because I've been to school twice. I went twice because I volunteered at school like twice a month.
Okay.
They call it like dads of outstanding students. But basically, I'm there from like 8:45 to 3:45. So I walk in the classroom, then I'll sit with some of the kids in the cafeteria, like third or fourth grade, kind of like hang out and kind of like, just kind of talk to them.
Yeah.
It's important for the African American men and and
Yes,
volunteer.
that's important.
And I talked to them all the time. And I popped in 2 science classes. That was pretty cool. They was working on a science project. I popped in for like 5 minutes because I don't want to interrupt the class. And these 5th grade, they were talking about the atoms. So, and I said, what's about the atoms? And the teacher said, explain to them what we studied. So a couple of kids explained. And then I went into a kindergarten class. This lady, she had a kindergarten class, and I was helping her cut things for kids, and they was cutting circles and everything. So this one girl, she says, well, she doesn't know how to use the scissors. I said, she don't, So I showed the girl. She had to be Hispanic. I showed her how to use the scissors. She let me touch her hand. I was showing her how to scissors, and after about 10 minutes, she learned how to cut. And I said, you know what? Maybe to change her perception that, hey, a black man showed me how to use scissors, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes God set me there, and she was cutting things out. So now she knew how to use scissors, but she didn't know how to use them before I got there. So kind of like sometimes God puts you in places for some other reason. And I told my wife, if I accomplish nothing else that day at school, I showed a kindergarten kid how to cut circles and squares out.
That's true. And then, I mean, at least during football season, every Sunday I see you on TV.
Right.
So they're going to be at home and go, oh,
right.
he showed me, and so that's going to.
And plus, I'm in the education because I've talked to PTAs, I've talked to teen moms, I've talked to, because I'm a cancer survivor, I've talked to cancer survivor. I've talked about education and being in the military. I've been lived in different places around the world. When we were stationed in Japan, we were stationed in Fallon, Nevada. They had what we call a Bobby Sox, which was a softball league, right? It was called women's softballs for like 3rd and 4th graders, right?
Okay.
So my daughter said she wanted to play, right? And so she played, and so some of the black parents says, she's the only one. She's the only African American player in the league. I said, I guess, I don't know. And she said she's enjoyed it. I said, look, as long as they treat my daughter with respect and treat them like the rest of it, and she wants to do it, I don't get wrapped up into the other stuff, right?
Right.
And my daughter enjoyed it. The coach treated her fine. Everybody treated her fine, and she had a good time. Right.
Okay.
Right. That's just how I roll. I said, long as you treat my kids fine, I don't need to be validated by nobody. My daughter's having a good time, right? We was in Japan. They had this swimming pool in Japan where hardly no Americans, we went. So me and my daughters went. We was the only Americans, only black, of course, right? So we walked in there, and the Japanese looked at us, and my kids had a good old time. My kids used to be out of the comfort zone. They go. Like I said, as long as you treat my kids fine, I don't care if it's 50, I don't care who, and the Japanese looked at, but we had my kids had a good time. And because of that, wherever they go, they fit in. They don't need to, my daughter's senior scientist for a biotech company. When she started working there, for a long time, they let her come in on the weekends and open up the building. And Chan said, they let me because you have credibility. They know you're not on your cell phone, that you don't need nobody standing over top of you.
Right. Yeah.
And she doesn't. So she worked on her own. She's self-taught. She's always had that. Some people need a boss though. Somebody always she doesn't. And so now she's working the COVID-19, working her own hours, and she kind of supervises a lot of people. But as I tell my kids all the time, I say, hey, they're outside their comfort zone just like me. I said, just go wherever you at is where you fit it. So they've always been like me. As long as people, like I said, I don't care who you are, as long as you treat me with respect and everything, that's fine. That's how I roll. And they do the same. When she was in that softball league, she was the only one, but she had a good time.
Yeah.
And they treated it fine.
Yeah.
Right. And one time my daughter was in school. She was in AP biology, right? So she's in AP biology, and the teacher says, I think she's in the 10th grade. The teacher says, I'm teaching this as a college course. You have homework every night, and you're going to have papers due, right? So I think she had 3 other blacks on the class, right? And so I go back. My daughter said, well, the other people took their kids out of the class. And he says, they took that out of class. The parent said, well, did you hear what she said? He said, yeah, she having homework every night, and she teaching that college course. I said, you fell right into the trap. She wanted to find out who wanted to stay there, right?
Okay.
6 kids. My daughter was the only one in there. My daughter knew I can hang with these people. See? Right? Right?
Wow, that's right.
But basically took your kid out there. Well, you can't hang with the other people. You can't hang with them. So let me take you out of there. I told my daughter, I said, that's why she was senior scientist for biotech. She knew she could hang, right?
That sounds right.
But you subconsciously send messages to your kids that,
Yeah.
right? The teacher wanted to find out who wanted to stay there. I knew what she was doing.
That's how. Yeah.
Right. And you fell right into the trap. I knew what she was doing. I knew exactly. I told my daughter. My daughter says, I said, I know what she did. I told her, I said, you know what she did? You did exactly what she wanted you to do. I said, my daughter, I ain't taking her out of that class. That was one of the hardest classes she took. That advanced, biology. It was hard, but she passed and she got it. I said, but no, you ain't scared. We don't run away.
Yeah. That's what like coaches do.
Right.
And things like they try to see if you'll quit or not interested or yeah, that is so they got that from you.
Right.
That training, that way of thinking. That's pretty good.
That's like me. I set up this chess thing. I was gonna play chess, right? I said I was starting this chess group, right? Mm-hmm. And so I was gonna have it at 7:00 Saturday morning, right? And so this woman said, if you have 12 o'clock, if you have it 12 p.m., more people show up. I said, no, the dedicated people will show up at 7. That's how I find who's committed.
That's true.
Right.
The
the committed people will find a way. Am I right?
Yeah.
The committed people will find a way. Yeah, I have 4 or 5 people show late, so if you have 12 o'clock, more people. I said, no, I look for quality, not quantity.
Yes.
And how many people will show up 7 in the morning?
Right.
Only the
people that
the
really
parents
want to
want
do
the
it.
kids. Yeah, only the parents, right? I said, listen, and same on my social media. I'm not chasing after numbers. I'm chasing after the quality people.
Quality,
I don't really care. I don't really care. So so what happened is, and then this other deal I had, I was going this about, I was teaching these kids how they were called future leaders. I got involved in that, and I started at 7 o'clock, right? I said, okay, we're gonna start at 7 o'clock. So I started at 7. Well, I shut the door. If you came at 7, you wasn't getting in. And parents, boy, that's not fair. I said, no, miss, this is how I run it. I start at 7, okay? I start at 7 o'clock. There's a lot of jobs I ain't putting up with. I know if kids can't get there at 7, I'm not changing it. But amazing, everybody started getting there at 7.
They know you're serious about it. They're gonna be
right. What my thing is, what you allow, you encourage.
Yeah.
You let me slap at your face. I keep slapping. So I cut you off the first time. I said, oh no, you're not talking to me like that. And I cut people off at the first time. You do something I don't like. Oh, I cut you off the first time. I said no, that's not. I said no, you're not doing that to me.
Right.
So if you're allowed, they continue to do it. So I shut the door at 7 o'clock. Those people started running. Oh man, Captain D, man, he starts 7. He shuts that door at 7. The word got out, and all of a sudden everybody made it there. Or I had a friend at work when I was at the Pentagon. Well, there was this girl who worked for me named Margarita. Well, her hours was at 8 o'clock. Well, she was coming in late. Mm-hmm. And so then I says, okay, she said, can I come at 8:30? I said, yeah, 8:30. Well, then she told her boss, she wanted to come in 8:45. I said, 8:45. Then she said, well, come 9. I said, I'm not 9. And he said, well, she has trouble. I said, you don't get it. If it was 12 o'clock, she is being late. It's not the time. It's her.
Yeah.
Some people, you can make it 11 o'clock, they're going to come in late. One thing, if you work for me, you ain't coming in late. That's not going to happen. I said, you don't get it. I went from 8 to 8:30, 8:45, 9, and you still couldn't get time. And I told the boss, you don't get. Well, I said, no, it's not the time. It's her attitude.
Yeah.
Right? I said, if I make it 11, don't you think she's going to come in late? Don't you think she's going to come in late? It ain't the time. I said, no. If you like people, that was my reputation. If you come in late, you ain't working for me now. Or I had a friend of mine. He would come in. This guy worked for this company. Well, he was coming in late all the time, right? Mm-hmm. Well, then he came in. He called in, and the boss fired him. And he said, what did he fire him for? I said, oh, man, the guy was in a car accident. The boss fired him. Mm-hmm. He said, man, that's fair. He fired him. No, he didn't fire him for this time. He fired him for the 20 other times. His credibility was lost. Okay. Now he had a valid reason, and the man said, oh, this is number 20. This is just time 21. right?
Right.
So you had a valid reason,
for the one time.
but you burnt your bridges the 20 other times when you didn't, right? And they said, well, yeah, he fired him. I said, no, he didn't. He didn't fire him for this one time. He fired him for the 20 other times.
Yeah.
Right?
That's how they, yeah.
Right? But all you said, oh, that's not fair. Well, no, what about the other time? If you got credibility, you call in. The man said, okay, yeah, you got credibility. Yeah, okay. I like, but if you got no credibility, I don't trust him. I don't believe any excuse you got.
Right.
I had a friend call me. He said, yeah, Captain D, I'll be late. You want to get something from McDonald's? Can you?
Since I'm gonna be late, I might as well stop.
Yeah, well, I guess. Yeah, well, he thought that was soften the blow. He said, yeah. You want some? Yeah, I'm late. You want something from McDonald's? or sometimes I used to have people that work for me, right? And like, we start at 8, right? And so they be eating their breakfast, right? Mm-hmm. And I said, look, I need you. Well, you see me on breakfast. Well, if you're on the clock, don't tell me that, okay? Now, so they got it. They picked up the mess. Okay, I'll get it for you, Captain. I didn't mess with if I have to, right? But don't let them be the first words out of their mouth because you're on the clock, right?
Right.
But 9 times out of 10, I didn't need it. But a lot of times, a friend of mine says, hey, can you do this? Okay, Captain. Okay, I'll go do it for you. But don't let that the first words out of your mouth. I'm not having it. You at work at 8, right? Don't tell me you're eating your breakfast. You eat your breakfast before. So I had a good working staff, but people act professional. And once people know what your work ethic is,
that's
everything. They
everything.
don't respect it. Because I had a bunch of people work for me, and I had a speech. I told all 20 people the same speech, the same sheet of music. What my expectation was. If you can't make it, give me a call. I said, give me a call. I said, I expect you this. I expect this. I said, when I give you a project, I expect you to do it. And I tell people all the time that once you know the people that work for you, there's some people I give a project to. Mm-hmm. If I say, like I give John a project, it's due 12 o'clock on Friday, and then people say, well, John goofing off. Well, I don't know. John gives me the project every day at 12 o'clock. I'm an end result person.
Right.
John can do whatever he wants.
Right.
As long as, here's a project, 12 o'clock, Captain D. But then some people you got to micromanage. Because some people you got to ask every day. But John was one of these people. Hey, John, can you have 12 o'clock? Got you. People say, man, what's John fooling? When did John get time to do it? I don't know. But the last 20 times I gave John a project, it was done at 12 o'clock.
And that's the bottom line.
I'm an end result
people
person.
work at a different pace.
And you got to know your people. Some people you got to tell them every day. Or when my daughter was on the honor roll, my wife says to me, she said, I don't know what channel you're doing at home. She listen to music. She on the phone. I said, all I know is she on the honor roll. I don't know how she got there. In fact, I don't even really care. But her report card tells me whatever she does.
It's getting what you want.
Right.
It's like that Uber. You don't care. You just know the Uber got there.
But some people like the back. Like I tell my kids at school, the first semester, we'll do it your way. And if your way's working, that'll be fine.
Can stay there, yeah.
And I said, your report card would tell me if it's working fine. Right? And I used to tell them that all the time. And I say, when they went to college, they got their bachelor's degree, you're only going to waste my money one semester. I'm going to tell you that right now. You're only going to waste my money one semester.
One semester.
Yeah.
Is that what I was supposed to tell my kids?
Huh?
I said, is that what I was supposed to tell my kids? Now he tell me,
Yeah.
I'm like 6 years in college.
Yeah, I told my kids, see, the key is what people make the mistake is. It's important to tell your kids what's going to happen before it happens, and then where they can go, they're not shocked, right?
Right.
They're not shocked when it happened, right? If you tell them, okay, that's like my daughter. She had a card in college, $500 for college, for an ATM card. I was going to help her, right? Mm-hmm. But if you up the balance, my name coming off of it. So my daughter said, Dad, I want to up to 1,000. I said, okay. So I took my name off. So she knew what was going to happen. I wasn't shocking. I told her what was going to happen. So she said, Dad, I'm getting a new card. I'm going to take your name off it because I'm to 1,000. I said, okay. So she wasn't surprised. I told her what was going to happen before it happened, right? So if you tell them what's going to happen before it happened, then there's no, and you do it anyway, so you already know the consequence before it happened because I already told you what was going to happen. So she took it off.
Okay.
And she did. So both my kids know that if you want to go to college and get too hard, you want to take 2 breaks off, you want to take a year off to define yourself. But if you're going back on your own money. You're not going back on mine. I told them that. And they said, Dad, that's a threat. Well, call it what you want. That's just a fact. If you go to college and it gets too hard, you want to take a break for 4 or 5 years, go right on ahead. But and I told them, I help you with the first one. The master's is on you, and that's exactly what we did. I helped with the bachelor's. Well, we went at master's degree. Okay, hope everything works out, and both of them got it. Because I told them.
Well, I truly appreciate you coming. I didn't realize time went by so
That's fine.
fast.
That's fine. I'm a talker anyway. Yeah. Yeah.
But it went. But so it's. I'm hoping you'll come. It sounds like you need to come back, and we need to bring your wife
Doing the
back
season,
too.
though.
No.
We got to be doing the
We
season.
can't bring your wife too.
No, you can't. My wife ain't in the cabinet. My wife says it's your thing. Of course, when I get a check, when I get a two grand check from Caesars, it's our money, right? But
Yes. Yes.
I told her I had to make her go to the Super Bowl. I mean, I had to
Yeah.
force her to go to the Super Bowl.
And they covered everything.
And then the first
Yes.
time, Travel Channel flew me to the first one. I did a commercial with Food versus Man. I did a commercial with him. Travel Channel flew me down for the Ravens Super Bowl in New Orleans. They gave me 2 tickets and everything. And I did that one. And then the next one, NFL sent me to the one in Atlanta for the Rams and the Patriots.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
and we got to go on the field and everything. So my wife, she's an even keel person. We've been together since high school. I told somebody I found a Cadillac, didn't have to look any farther. You know,
I know that's right.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. She's even keel. She doesn't tell anybody I'm Captain D. She's like, yeah. My kids, with that, because my kids follow me on social media, right? And I have a granddaughter. She's in high school. She's out in Seattle. She follows me, right? And I told somebody, I said, my granddaughter's on my social media, and there's nothing I have to explain to her. I can't be telling her, you got to treat people nice, and then I'm on my social media page tearing people down.
Right.
She called me hypocrite. So she knows she knows that she follows me, and I put stuff on my page. She follows me, everything on my page, and I said, there's nothing I have to explain to her, because I'm lifting people up. I'm helping anybody. I'm not, look, all right, you need to be nice to people. You need to talk to people this way. And then I'm on there calling people idiot. And stuff.
Right.
And what happened is when you on my Facebook page, on my Facebook, West Simpson, I give you $100. You find a curse word on because I don't have it. People follow your lead. Whatever I put.
That's true.
People are using language on the other page, but when they roll in my house, Captain D ain't having that. None. I won't have it. In other words, if you don't like my purple furniture in my house, don't come in my house.
See,
my page.
I need to see pictures.
I don't have no politics on it. Like about Colin Kaepernick, I made my statement and I'm gone. I'm moving ahead. I made my statement about Black Lives Matter. I said, look, I've stopped by the police 5 times. So I said, I'm speaking from experience.
Right.
I don't know whatever happened, but I'm telling you what my experience, right?
Right.
And I put it on the people. Say, oh, I'm so sorry. Whatever. That's just the way it is. But
Right.
but so I'm not, so I'm speaking from personal experience. I ain't talking about something that I know what happened to me. So I put it on it and I move on. So what happens is because the way you control your page, you ain't. In other words, you're not making personal attacks. You're not calling people idiot on my page because I'll call you out. If you don't like Lamar Jackson, that's fine. You have your reason why. But you're not calling. Oh, that's stupid idiot.
Just state your comment and
Right. And people
don't
know that.
personal attacks. Yeah.
And people know that, and they police themselves because I'm not having it. But I see people using language on the other page. Just when they roll the mouse, I'm not having it.
What's your schedule like during the season? 'Cause we're gonna try to get you back during the season. I know you're probably 10 times busier.
Well, just hit me up like you did. Well, I don't know if you got my email, but anyway, I'm on social media. Well, you hit me up the same way.
Yeah.
And just give me a heads up because I got 2 events. I'm going to a networking event up at Lower Race Course on the 6th. I think I'm going to my grandson's school on 30th. But yeah, I get stuff always coming into my manager. But just give me a heads up.
I'm gonna send you. I know if the Ravens aren't playing on Monday,
Right.
There's a chance you might come in. If they're
Right.
playing on Monday,
No, I ain't. No. Monday night. But see, I don't tailgate in one section. I kind of move around.
Okay.
I move around, and you're not. That's how I meet people.
Right.
Or like I went to a networking group, right? So I roll in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there was these 2 kids, teenagers, about I don't know, not teenagers, but they were grown people. Well, they was over there talking to me. I said, "What are you doing?" They said, "We're here to network." I said, "You're not networking standing in the corner. You got to get out." Well, we're friends. I said, "You got to get out of your comfort zone. People are not going to come up to you and say, 'Hey, give you that bit.'" I said, "You got to. You're 3 friends sitting together. You already know each other. You got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to go meet people and and talk to people, meet people."
Right.
She said, "Well, it's not easy." Well, of course it's not. Getting out of your comfort zone isn't easy, but that's how you grow.
Right.
But you need to get out. So she kind of get out, and she kind of came with me, and I kind of introduced a couple people. Then she felt better. She got along talking to other people, and tell people what your product is, and you have giving people your business cards. But you don't stand up against the wall. 3 of you guys. I said that's not networking.
Right.
And I said
some people have to be taught. You got to teach them.
right. But after a while to do it. But wherever I go, so I can go up and talk to strangers, right? So I can because I'm a vibe person. See, sometimes I go up to 2 Ravens fans talking, like a guy with his wife there. I can pick up that in intimate conversation. I say, "Hey man, how you guys? I'll talk to you guys later." I can pick it up because you can pick up I read people. Some people talk Raven football, some people don't, but I can kind of pick up in tune with people. I've never asked anybody for a picture. The 150 pictures I took over the weekend, everybody asked me because I get a picture because you generate energy, right? And I walk into the room and I try to generate a positive energy, and that's where my thing comes in. Like, so everybody I talk to got a job. Everybody I talk to, I got 30 roofers. I got 4 therapists on my page that follow me, right? So any question I need to ask, I can put out there. Like, this guy said, "Hey, Captain, this guy ripping you off on the roof," and like an IT guy, I told him I was having problems. He said, "Captain, here's my number. Anything you got your computer, well, let me know, right?"
Right.
And
that's good to know.
And I don't bash the Ravens, but I call it like it is. I said, look, Lamar can't be throwing 4 interceptions. My mother always told me. My mother always told me, attack the performance, not the performer. I attack Lamar Jackson throwing 4 interceptions. I'm not saying Lamar Jackson is the idiot, but it's a fact. You can't be throwing 4 interceptions, right? I'm not making it personal. I'm attacking his performance.
You ready? Good. Okay. Captain Defense, I truly appreciate, and I'm definitely gonna call you back. So I know to start early.
No, you're fine. You can start whenever you want. I'm adaptive.
Well, we definitely appreciate.
I didn't know this was on. This was on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now everybody probably say, "Who's that crazy?" Yeah.
We're gonna tell them. I'm gonna put your. I'm definitely gonna put your picture up. And let everybody know you and add your picture to my Instagram page. I'll tag it. I gotta learn how Instagram moves, but I definitely.
You don't know Instagram?
I'm getting better. I'm so used to talking, and I got to put the picture on there. But I like talking.
But see, what I learned is, if you're gonna do this, you need to go where people at. See, the younger people have moved off Facebook. Facebook is an older crowd, right?
Yes.
So I had to go to Instagram because that's where they went.
Right.
Right. And I had to go to Twitter because that's where they went. So sometimes you got to go.
Yeah.
You got to go where they are.
Snapchat
right.
and all that.
No, I got a TikTok I haven't used yet, but sometimes you got to go. And that's like the other day. I remember I was sitting downstairs, right, about 3 weeks ago, and I'm sitting there. So they had something about Shakespeare on there, and had one of his poems on there. I said, because I need a child. Because when you get older, you have no test to take. You have to challenge yourself. There's nobody holding you accountable. You have to do it yourself. Sometimes I told my wife, I said, I'm going to remember this Shakespeare poem, and I'm gonna say it. I'm going to put it live. So after about 2 weeks, I had it memorized. I was quoting Shakespeare. I said, my mistress' eyes are nothing like the sun. Coral is fire. My wife says, you just, I said, Ryan, you know me, I have no box to fit in, right? So I put on there. So everybody came and said, Captain, that's pretty impressive. You reading Shakespeare's? I said, yeah, one is sonnet number 18. It's called My Mistress' Eyes Are Nothing Like this. And so I told my wife, said, what are you doing? I said, Laverne. She said, there's no box for you. You just all over the place, right? Well, sometimes I was sitting there, my wife said, what are you thinking about now? That's what she said.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. I'm going to make sure I get a picture before you leave.
Okay.
WMEG, this is Welcome to Birdland with King Brody. Thank you so much for listening, y'all. Y'all have a good night. Welcome to Birdland!